p.m. Eastern, you got Avita. Then, of course, Vince and me, Tim Pool, Russell Brand, Jeremy at the Quartering, Viva Frey. We appreciate it. We know that you have made all of these programs number one across the day in their hours. And you could choose to tune in anywhere, but most stuff is crap. Thank you, Vince viewers, the Bongino Army. We appreciate you coming in. We're glad to have you here. And today, look, we have to get to it because we have a lot. We just had a new report on inflation that just came out as we're getting ready for the show. In combination with the jobs report, you will see that there's a difference between Wall Street and Main Street. Did Donald Trump back down? Did he blink? Anyone who is telling you that is not paying attention. I would argue is being dishonest with you, but I'll make my case. Hey, we can allow room for error. Someone can just be wrong and a moron. That's true too. Also, the funniest, and I said this last time, the funniest predator poacher, the funniest pedophile hunting video that I've seen in my life. It's exclusive. We caught this man. He has been reported to the authorities. I almost still can't breathe from laughing so hard. So we'll watch that with you a little bit later. But first, this is an issue that has been near and dear to my heart for a very long time. Lesbians really beat the crap out of each other, and it needs to stop.
Hello, my name is Teresa, and I am a lesbian. Did you know that lesbian couples face many of the same problems that also plague straight couples? This ranges from petty family squabbles all the way to domestic violence. In fact, dyke-on-dyke crimes occur at even higher rates than straight couples living in rural areas. According to research, almost 44% of lesbian couples experience domestic violence, compared to 35% of straight women, 26% for gays. Not to be a Debbie Downer or anything, but I was actually slapped by my girlfriend on the way here. It's time we put an end to this senseless violence by providing shelter for victims in well-carpeted rooms. Please donate at batteredlesbians.org, and let's make sure that no more lesies take beatings from their partners.
You too can stop the abuse by giving generously at batteredlesbians.org.
Click Rumble Premium and join now for $99 annually or $9.99 a month to get the entirely ad-free experience and an ever-expanding roster of content, creators, and free speech. Glad to be with you. A lot to get to today. Question of the day. We're back on that. How long before liberals start putting the Chinese flag in their bios? They've gone with Ukraine. I think that's the natural order, the natural sequence that they'll be following here. Captain Morgan, CEO number 2, is here. We're glad to have you.
Thanks,
Pops
man.
Crowder is here, along with the funniest man alive, who will be at the Cohoes Music Hall in Cohoes, New York, Friday, April 25th. You can go to nickdip.com for all the dates. Nick DiPaolo. Thank you, sir.
Me and it's like Cialis Corner over here. Two guys in a balcony at them up. Hey, smells funny. Battering lesbians.
And I told you guys I'd never show up, but let me tell you about Blue Chew.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
What is Blue Chew? It's just a chewable version, right? It's like Flintstones vitamins for boners.
Why do you look at me when you ask that question?
I really thought it was about something a kid choking on a piece of steak.
Blue Chew.
It's Instagram Viagra.
Yes, that makes sense. All right. Before we get to everything else, this is just a lot of fun. Bernie Sanders did a town hall with Anderson Cooper. How many communists can you fit in a room? And to just show you that they can't play by their own rules, Anderson Cooper gets called out by the privileged white feminist, no doubt. It's just funny to see this sort of civil war. It's like privileged white feminist trumps gay host, I guess. I don't fully know. And then Bernie Sanders' reaction is priceless.
Welcome back to our live CNN Town Hall. We're back with Senator Bernie Sanders. I want to introduce Grace Thomas. She's a local civil rights attorney. She's a Democrat. Grace?
Say them pronouns, actually. Thank you.
Oh.
Good evening, Senator Sanders. Polling and turnout data indicate that men of all racial demographics are turning away from the Democratic Party. But of course, white men in particular do not feel that the DNC's messaging,
Excuse me, do you have
the answer is yes, targets them and the issues that they care about. Should progressive campaigns craft policies and messaging to better encapsulate these voters? How do they do so without abandoning marginalized voters of color and gender?
Okay, thank you for the question, Grace.
Do I look like a person of color?
It's just, you just can't. And here's the thing. Of course, the woke, the LGBTQ, AIP, I don't even know what this woman is. Do you know what the polite thing to do is if someone says she and you don't prefer those pronouns? Is you should say nothing. Just shut up.
Yes.
Just shut up. The same people who are feminists who accuse everyone of being a narcissist and a red flag, you feel the need to correct someone in a grammatically incorrect way. Can you shut up? Can that be a thing? And can someone say shut up and it not be seen as misogyny or heteronormative patriarchy? Just say nothing and ask your stupid inconsequential question to the socialist.
Can we just treat that person like a man?
Yeah.
That they are.
Yeah.
Well, if she's 900 pounds, a they is fine.
That's, yes.
Multiple of that.
But if she's just an ugly douche like that, we got no use for that.
Yeah. I don't even know. You know, we haven't even done the background. I'm sure she's a lesbian or something.
Oh, please. You can smell the salmon from here.
And go to Battered Lesbians. Go to batteredlesbians.org because no lesbian should be battered alone.
Wait.
Delicious.
Alone?
I said alone.
What do you do? Tempura them?
Did you just say Malone? What are you doing?
No.
Stop messing up the show. Let's go.
Good luck.
Let's go to this. And look,
Here we go.
this one is a lot of fun. And you've heard me talk about this quite a bit. And now there's sort of been these factions of what people refer to as red pill. And then, of course, you have feminists, and then you sort of have conservative quasi-feminists. And it's just all so silly. It's all so tiresome. How about we go back to our roots? We dug up some old PSAs. And you may not realize this, of course, they're base, but they also provide some really useful tips. Now, I want you to take off the modern lens of feminism and understand that what you see here was the norm throughout all of human history up until about 1961. Here is how young men should and always have looked for the girl of their dreams.
How do you choose a date? Whose company would you enjoy? Well, one thing you can consider is looks.
I might.
Who thought of Janet and how good-looking she was?
Consider that.
He'd really have to
Hillary.
rate to date somebody like her. Yes, he'd enjoy that. Well, it's too bad Janice always acts so superior and bored.
Oh.
She'd make a fellow feel awkward and inferior.
Don't pick an uppity
perhaps
bitch.
someone who doesn't feel superior.
What the?
There's Betty. And yet,
Rocker.
it just doesn't seem as if she'd be much fun. What about Anne? She knows
She's
how to have a good
practicing.
time,
Yeah, I'm rolling
and
out.
how to
You know
make
what?
the fellow with her relax, have fun too.
Let's lose our teeth together.
Yes, that's what a boy likes. He wants to know he's appreciated.
But she lacks a rat.
Anne would be fun on a date.
I
That's
hope
right.
she shaves.
That's why it's very important to slowly chew your food to see if your potential mate sucks a mean.
Oh.
It's just so.
What?
Look, but see, here's the thing: we laugh at it, but it's basically yeah. Look, for the same reason now we're talking about, hey, is it sexist for men to want a woman to be at home? They always have. She makes herself seem superior. What that means is just like the pronoun lady, just quiet. It's not attractive to men. For the same reason that women find it attractive if a man is successful, right? There's the draw, there's the orbit of a successful. Men don't want you to tell them how much more accomplished you are because first off, you're likely not, and it puts us in an awkward situation where we have to lie and act like we care. Now, we go on to more advice on how to be, and I know you're going to say this is sexist. It's not. How to be a good wife, and here's the funny thing. If you watch this, and if you just remove the modern sort of inclination to be offended, it's basically giving good life advice, and it's telling women to treat being a housewife like what? Oh, that's right. You say the most important job in the world. Treat it like a job.
She must know how to cook, know food. She must know how to set her table attractively.
She must be a power
must know
forward.
how to make
Jesus. Look at the size of this thing.
She must know the worth of labor-saving devices.
It's Fred
and
Gwynn.
how best to conserve her time and energy. She must know clothes, how to buy, and how to make them. She must face death to bring children into the world.
Oh, my goodness. What?
Minor chord
Raise
kicked in.
them, care for them, and pilot them safely to the threshold of manhood and womanhood. To her husband, she must be a companion, a sweetheart, a wife, and a mother. She must stir his ambition, pull him through failure, and keep success from hurting him. She must make social contact. She must widen her own horizon and find time for culture.
And what's funny is people watch it like, oh, you know what the problem? You know what the problem is that you have with that? The word must. The word must. Be honest. Comment below. Be honest. Anyone says, oh, why must she? Don't tell me what to do. Okay, great. Just like the man who leaves the house and goes to his job, he's told what to do all the time. It's basically saying, what's the most important job? Treat it like a job. Right? This isn't that. You know what? There's nothing with which I disagree there. Not a single. She must know food. If it's a job, yeah. She must make the table. Damn right. She must support her husband and be a good companion. What, are you trying to control me? Sure. Let's go with that.
Well, setting the table's also gotten a lot easier. That was a very fancy table setting that she was doing. And also, we don't need her to make clothes anymore.
No, I want her to
Really?
make
I mean,
the
it's
table.
gotten so
I want her to physically make the table.
well.
She seems like
In the garage.
Carpenter.
Yeah, exactly. And facing death in childbirth is a much lower chance of that. It seems like things have gotten better.
But you know what, though? It's saying, just like the man must face death anytime something goes bump in the night. Like, that's part of the agreement. You got to face death, one time or back then, like 12 times when you had kids.
There were a lot of times.
I appreciate the honesty. This is the miracle of life. But you could be facing the great abyss.
Or a child's face.
It's just,
I know. We're not digging a hole and dropping a fetus in a ballpark.
it's just.
This is in 1840. You got doctors and stuff. And
Yeah.
epidermises.
And this is actually brings us to a good wife checklist from the 1950s. And it's so funny. If you read about this on Reddit, people are upset. These are tips to wives. It says, be a little gay and a little more interesting for him. His boring day may need a lift, and one of your duties is to provide it. Don't greet him with complaints and problems. A good wife always knows her place. And people are upset about this. You go back and you read it. It's like, this is this idea that it's your primary duty to take care of the home if you're a homemaker. That's new. That's 1962 to now, really. Early 60s. Before that, it was just, of course, this wasn't even a conversation. No, know your place and don't bombard him with complaints. Right. Back in the day, you think men would have tolerated it? Of course not. They were coming in, bringing in a wildebeest. Like, what? I got to deal with crap. I'm just going to leave you for the winter. Good luck.
That's also common sense. Like, when my wife comes home from having the kids out or something like that, I don't immediately bombard her with anything that I've got going on. I'm like, hey, how you doing? How are the
You're
kids?
afraid of her.
Good. No, it's just
You want a fresh one?
You're leaving one environment and going to another one. When a guy is coming home from work, he's trying to get his mind off of work mode. Okay, get into family mode a little bit. That transition takes some time. You don't walk in, bing, get hit with stuff. It just doesn't work.
Well, I didn't have kids.
Let's say you have a choice, women. Okay. Or if you have a choice to provide some advice to young women, do you want them to listen to a professor? Do you want them to go on and learn how to be a girl boss? What's going to make them happier? Girl boss or that offensive old PSA? I would argue that's better. You know why? Because not a single guy ever, I'm just letting you know, not a single guy has ever had a conversation saying like, well, you know what? I think she's due for a promotion. So that really gets me go. No one cares. They would prefer nice and to be a team, a partnership. And of course, this extends to, who could ever forget, dinner time etiquette.
These boys greet their dad as though they are genuinely glad to see him, as though they had really missed being away from him during the day and are anxious to talk to him. This is the time for pleasant discussion in a thoroughly relaxed mood. They don't pick this time of the day to spring unpleasant surprises on Dad. If they have disagreeable news, they'll postpone the discussion until another time. And this is no time to dun Father for a raise in your allowance, new clothes, or argue about other financial matters.
What?
Napkins on the lap.
He wants to come out to Dad.
Watch this. They converse pleasantly while Dad serves. I said pleasantly, for that is the keynote at dinner time. It is not only good manners, but good sense.
All good advice. All good advice.
Pleasant, unemotional conversation helps digestion.
We know that.
Don't monopolize the conversation and go on and on without.
Oh my God!
Nothing destroys the charm of a meal more quickly.
Shut up, Judy.
To say that the rest of the group is bored would be a gross understatement.
That's why I don't like ladies.
Does that kid have two daddies?
Look, they're all
Am I reading this wrong?
Casting was weird. Yeah.
Don't try and make everyone else fake like they're interested in your bullshit. It's funny. They show a girl at the table. Here's the thing. Let's also put this in perspective. The same people who find that offensive are the same people on the pop psychology couch all over social media calling everyone a narcissist. What that's really saying is, don't be a narcissist and make it all about you at the table. Other people have stuff to say, Judy, you ungrateful bitch.
Yeah, I don't understand, though. At the beginning, when they're on the couch, it looked like two dads.
The casting
No,
was all wrong.
yeah, the one son is a little bit older.
Yeah. That's a son?
Yeah, exactly.
Like 15 years older than his brother. Yeah,
but you know what, though,
looked like a woman, too.
He's 15 years older than his brother.
A lot of people go like, oh, so they're afraid of the dad. No, you know why those kids are talking to their dad that way? Because back then, just like they talked about teammate, right? Both people have roles. Bet you the mom wasn't trashing the dad and complaining about the dad of the kids. The mom's role was to make sure that the kids respected the dad, or if they had to, fear the dad. They wouldn't even dream of, screw you, dad. It didn't happen back then because, of course, you'll get your ass beat.
With mom complaining about the secretary?
Yeah. Now, to be fair, some mixed messages because dinner etiquette does have a wide range. The impact. Any idea how painful a grapefruit in the eye?
Might as well have been Mo Howard.
Yeah, he squeezed it on the way in.
Mo Howard makes the same face.
Yeah, he freshened it up on the way in.
And the best part of it is he walks off. You know he's not going to get a napkin. He's not going to help at all. Does it burn? I hope so.
I hope he improv that.
Make me deliver my line 3 times. I'll show you.
I hope exactly.
She went and complained to the union. I don't know what happened. He must have been cross with me. I was simply saying my lines in rehearsal, and next thing I know, I have a grapefruit in my cornea.
Like Pacino slapping about the abortion. That was a real crack in the face. She had no idea that was coming.
Let's compare that to how arguments are handled today by modern women. Well, that's true if you're willing to face down death.
You see the guy in the front there? When they started the My Body, he stopped himself.
And he looked around.
Yeah, he wasn't involved in the chant because it wasn't his body.
Guys, is this okay if I yell too?
Can I? Yeah.
Well, people are acting out. There's this, and you can comment where you line up, like as though it's this new gimmick. Like, no, this is very, very new. The idea that what you just saw wasn't the norm. And I mean, maybe it was cleaning up a teepee. Maybe it was cleaning up a cave. At one point, maybe it would be cleaning up some kind of an old Victorian. I have no idea. I don't know enough about houses. I'm not an architect.
A split ranch.
There you go. It's a mid-century sea ranch. That's all about. But the point, like that was the norm. And then think about this. For the first time, really, after, I say the 1950s and 1960s, you weren't getting your circle of influence from your family and your friends where you could keep each other in check, where someone might get out of line. You might have a bad apple. Now you had access, millions of people, to the bad apple, which was the media, which leaned far left, telling people to break down and erode their institutions, their cultural norms, their social mores. And so that's the first time you had an entire generation of people going, yeah, maybe we shouldn't do these. And guess what? Today, people are more miserable than ever. Fewer people are getting married than ever. It's not working. So as offensive as that may seem, I support it. And I, by the way, have always been, as you know, Gerald, very consistent on the issue of feminism.
I don't think that's actually true.
I've always been I've been very consistent anti-feminist.
Tim,
what do you mean?
Roll the tape, Tim.
And I've always said this, my favorite band, you know, is Evanescence. Yeah. Because they have a female singer. And a lot of bands out there, they're afraid of the power that comes from a strong, independent, a unique female voice. Not Evanescence, though. They embrace the femininity. They embrace the power. I think it's brave. And watch, this is 2006. By 2016, we'll say this is the era of the woman.
It's courageous.
Rightfully so.
Yep.
Well, out of context.
I think there was plenty of context there.
I don't know.
You need to explain your wardrobe.
Question. Yeah. Well, I could say the same. I would say the same.
That was the fashion of the day.
Question. Same for me.
Whatever.
You know what? Let's just call this mutually assured destruction and move on. Okay.
Okay.
All right. This is a standoff.
You started a rally cap?
You can comment, by the way, send in, let me know what your favorite old time PSAs are. I think we'll be running some more of those. And yeah, of course, if you haven't yet, download the Rumble app, follow us there. That's the best way to stay in touch. You get notifications when we are live, 11 a.m. Eastern on weekdays. Rumble, this site owns live. It's not even close. YouTube is no longer a thing for live streaming. It's disgusting. Speaking of disgusting, pedophiles. Now, for those of you out there, and I almost don't feel like I should offer a PSA to pedophiles. Like I should give them no tips because they're pedophiles. But if you are a pedophile and you think that you're messaging children on the internet, probably not. Now, there are a lot of people who are out there ready to catch you, including some people exclusive here to Mug Club Now Rumble Premium. This story right now, this is the first time you'll see this. It's one of the. It's so funny to the point that I think we'll probably leave our microphones on because
I think so.
I also think it's the first time Nick is seeing this. There was a 52-year-old man named Joe Chilufo, and he is a driver for a septic company in Massachusetts. Okay. He is the person you are about to see here who thought that he was talking with, I believe, a 13-year-old. And, it's always kind of uncomfortable, but Douglas King Jr., the man who does some work with us, is the funniest pedophile catcher of all time. That brings us to this latest installment.
Joe, hello. I saw you were in your room. I know you're here. Joe, let's just be people. Let's cut this hiding nonsense and come out here. Joe, come down. I want to talk to you.
What?
What's up? Hi, Joe. Hi, I'm Douglas King Jr. Who's I think you know who. Okay, I'm going to get these addressed, Joe, let me start reading it. Fuck it. Okay, will you come out a little closer so we can speak so I don't have to yell at the top of my lungs?
You told me she was 18.
She never said that. Yeah. Yes, it is you because, dude, we have your penis pictures. I'm trying to, but you're running away and shit. No. Anyway, you initiate the conversation. She clearly says I'm 13, not 18.
Well, I misread it then.
You didn't misread shit. This is what I'm not holding it against your will. You accepted that she was 13 and did not think she was 18. Okay, cool. Are you a Christian man?
Yep.
You send all those penis pictures there, right? And videos. Yes.
Why you have to video call me?
Because this is for our record keeping and for safety purposes. So that way, yeah. So that way,
you're being honest.
Yes, of course.
All right, got you.
No, Jesus. What were the pictures that you sent to her? The penis pictures and stuff. Okay, well, do you want to just grab a jacket?
Yeah, I'll be right. Yeah.
How are you so unlucky that the first time you do it, that I get a call and I'm here?
That I can't tell you. That's the first. I'm going to grab a Bible?
You don't have to grab a Bible. Did you also ask her for any pictures?
No.
Naked pictures?
No.
You sure about that?
Probably did. I don't remember.
You did. Like driving like a snowplow or something.
I wasn't a snowplow.
You ever see the movie Snow Day?
What? No.
It's a great movie, but it's like if you want to feel young, maybe if you watch that, I wouldn't be here. You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
See?
Yeah.
Treat this like confession. You know what I'm saying?
I don't go seeking them. So there's another one.
Yeah.
Wow. She wanted me gone. Where am I?
Yeah, happy to see you here. Not there.
Okay. No, why didn't I go? I know it was a setup.
Refresh my memory.
Saying she was 9. Yeah, we did talk a lot.
You
knew that, right?
Of course I did. But you see the problem with it still, right? You think that's good for her?
No.
Like you're a man of God.
When do people get arrested next? Do stuff?
This isn't arrestable offense.
Right.
You know what all these yellow tags are? It's all the times you sent your thing. And the pinks is when you ask her to send stuff.
Right. This is just fantasy.
This is no longer fantasy. This is reality.
Of course.
You clearly have some kind of attraction to minors.
Right. Who do I talk to? I get counselor.
You're talking to me. Oh my God, your birthday?
Oh, a couple days ago.
Oh, happy belated. You do that too. You're going through some shit.
Monkey app.
Monkey app?
There's a thing called Monkey.
Monkey?
Yeah, it's called Monkey. Once in a while you see kids being sexually exploited.
Oh man, do you know any like places around here to get like a good bagel or something? But anyway, back to the monkey app. Yeah, it's kind of like Omegle or Chat Roulette or something.
Yep.
The images of the kids, like in nude and sexual things, is it pictures, videos, or both?
It's both.
So what's typically happening, like with like the kids and stuff?
They've been having sex.
How old are the kids in the videos?
They're young, 6, 7, 8, 9. When I was 31, I had sex with a young girl. But
How old was she?
She was 13. It was a mother's permission. This was a long time ago.
You were 31, she was 13?
Yeah.
Oh wow, where was this?
This was up in Vermont.
So you're saying she's 13?
She was 18.
She was 13.
18.
But you told me 13 just
No.
now. And you were telling the truth then. And she was 13, you were 31. Okay, fine. How many times did you have sex with her?
It was once. I never told someone that, so I
No. Hey, that's really,
That's you.
I appreciate your honesty very much so.
Trying to get laid. I'm not going to lie to you.
What about your friend here? What? Too old? She's not 13.
I've never. To get a video of a child, I've never done it.
So you like looked for
Tried.
child porn? Yeah.
This ends tonight.
Yeah, we're gonna like
I have your word.
Yeah,
Glad it
no.
came out.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you came out too.
When's
Had
the cops coming?
I don't know. Maybe someone called when I was yelling
Come
before.
around.
When he comes, I'll vouch. Of course, man. Yeah, absolutely. Hi, how's it going, Joe? You're not gonna talk sexually to minors anymore on the internet. You're done doing that. You're not gonna send penis pictures to minors anymore on the internet, and you're not gonna ask minors for nudes anymore.
No.
Not gonna do that. You're not gonna watch child porn anymore, and you're not gonna have sex with minors anymore.
Never did.
Yeah. Okay. I know, man. I'm sorry.
So what's going to happen now?
I don't know.
So good. It's so good. I think what's great. Look. And let me just tell you, the information was handed over to the police.
Yes.
There, to be clear, it was. I want to make sure it's the Gloucester. Did I have that right?
Gloucester.
Gloucester police.
Yep.
He wasn't arrested on site, Chalufo, but Douglas King Jr. turned over all the chat logs, all the pertinent information. So the follow up is done. It still is funny to watch because I think the big reason is a lot of these sort of pedophile hunters you'll see online, they're trying to be punitive. He's just like a disappointed father. There's just a complete lack of respect.
Yeah.
That is so much more damning.
Oh, gosh.
So parents, by the way, we've been finding this out. Watch out for the Monkey app. It's used to talk to strangers.
Yeah.
You know, there were issues with chat roulette back in the day. I think it's kind of coming in under the radar.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. If you're a parent out there, please
Not anymore.
keep your eyes out. Yeah, I certainly hope that people are paying attention. And out there, if you have any tips, please send them to pplongisland1@gmail.com. That's pplongisland1@gmail.com. Or follow what these guys do at PP Long Island so you can see some of the work that they do. A little bit more info too. King met this man over Instagram through the predator poachers, their decoy networks. And pedophiles are getting so easy to catch because they all flock to the same websites. They use the same tactics. It's almost like they move in herds. They do move in herds. So, yeah. Josh, what are you doing?
It's the whole bringing back extinct species, like Jurassic Park bit.
No, we did that yesterday with the dire wolf. That's us.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I just heard the Jurassic Park music.
No, yeah, that was a separate thing. It was a separate.
Oh,
that was
that's weird.
A separate
Okay.
bit. So we're
All right. Well,
yeah, you can go.
Okay. Oh. Yeah.
What are you doing, Josh?
You don't want me in here?
No, I don't want. No, just it was a separate bit. You can go.
Are you sure? I feel like it's working.
No, it's not working. I think you should
get
go,
out, Josh.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll do something else later. Yeah. Thank you. All right. Let's. He can't get out of the studio, can he?
What the hell's in that? Michael J. Fox? The head go bobbing all over his plastic.
Okay, he's gone. All I don't think there's much we can. And by the way, we'll upload the raw clip of that to social where you can follow us.
Let
I know
him know
it's
you love him. That guy's doing
Douglas King Jr. Oh my gosh, I just love his.
I love how he says "I'll vouch,"
Yeah, when
and
the
then he
cops-
reads off all his offenses to the cops.
I don't know. Maybe somebody called him when I was yelling a minute ago. Who
What is
knows?
it? He said it when we goes, what's with your friend there? Oh, is she too old? She's not 13.
Oh my
He
god.
got him to admit to everything at the end.
Yeah.
You're not going to touch Danny. No, no.
I know. And you know what? The reason why conservatives and Christians sometimes lose is I guarantee you there are some people who are going to be offended. Like, he shouldn't have lied to him. Shut up.
I don't care at all.
Shut up.
Lied to him.
He lied to him to catch a child predator.
Yeah.
So all undercover's a lie then.
Exactly. All investigative journalism. No, he does go a step further. We're like, no, I wouldn't record you. Jeez.
So why would I do that?
You're not recording, are you?
It's just for record keeping purposes.
Why would he avail that he had sex with a 13-year-old?
Well,
Why did he come out of the house?
I know.
What the hell is it? What?
Yeah, let me get a jacket. Yeah, it's a little nippy out.
I know.
It's going to be a long conversation. I got a lot to confess.
I know. Why would you come out of the house? This kid's got magic powers. This kid-
I don't know what
He's so non-threatening. You're like, no way I'm getting busted by that guy.
Yeah, it's a little more subtle than the guys that go into a CVS and beat the shit out of those guys in a card aisle.
He'd be very confused. Telling the
Jason's
cops-
here to meet a 12-year-old, and they stop pounding him. That's entertaining too, though.
He's at the precinct like, I don't know. I didn't tell anyone except that retard.
I know.
Oh, wait.
Camera.
He had a camera?
Gloucester, that's my neck of the woods where I grew up.
It's recording audio.
Jeez, what is it? One of those magic cameras? One of them drones?
The converse
Oh my
of
gosh.
being an untrustworthy person who's way too trusting.
Yes, exactly. He's a pedophile who just immediately lets people in his social circle.
I like you. I believe you.
Yeah, look, I like you. I believe you. Let me tell you about the time that I slept with a 13-year-old and her mother watched.
Her mother's permission. Yeah.
Jeez.
I meant 18.
Yeah, these,
Oh, you said 13.
these people need to fear retro. We don't live in a culture where these people fear showing their face. We need to bring back shame and we need to bring back fear. These are valuable tools to keep society in
And
line.
pummel.
I didn't know pedophiles are so emotionally available.
Yes, exactly.
That's like a woman's wet dream. Guy just spills the beans on everything he's thinking. See the ass on her like a nectarine. Yeah.
What a okay. Let's move on. By the way, Billy, you we fixed the mic, right? Yeah. All right. Okay. All right. Now we have to get to something a little more serious. The tariffs. President Donald Trump and the tariffs with China. Now,
Chinese are the pedophiles. Okay, in this story.
in the
Teens to
whoa,
tariffs.
whoa, that's not a good segue at all, Gerald.
Allegedly.
Thank you. Allegedly covers
You
it.
just vilified an entire nation of people
the
as
Chinese Communist Party.
okay,
And
but
the rest of the world is a bunch of underage people.
all right,
And they're all
okay.
3'11", so they look
Yeah,
like
yeah. Okay, all
How
right,
do you see it?
Keep digging, Gerald.
all right. I'll go along with it. I can see that we really set the tone for today with that and the PSA.
That's a tough segue from pedophiles.
It is.
to
It is. It is. Now let's talk international economic policy.
No, what I'm saying, they're screwing all of us. Do you get it, guys?
Yes, I get it.
All right.
I get it. I get it.
Increase the age of consent 100%.
Yeah. So the tariffs. President Trump blinked is exactly what I would be saying if I was misinformed or trying to mislead you. I think what people don't understand is that we are seeing for the first time with a presidency, a business negotiation take place in real time.
Yeah.
Any negotiation, any contract negotiation that you've been through, certainly if you're dealing with larger businesses, it involves multiple phases. It involves usually a broad strokes proposal, then redlining. Okay, can we put that on the shelf right now? Let's put that on pause while we hash out these details. That's what you're seeing as far as the pause on the Chinese tariffs. And by the way, it's not across the board, to be clear. Let's still bring this back kind of into focus. The main target of these tariffs is China. Okay, that is the end goal. They are still in the sights, figuratively, of the United States. And we have more than tariffs to prove that that is the case right now, to prove that this is why Donald Trump is doing this. You have the executive order on shipbuilding. We'll get to that. You have Pete Hegseth in Panama, his statements. And then, yes, by the way, there still are some tariffs. Some of the additional tariffs have been paused. And I think you'll understand why. It's time for the latest installment of The Terrifier.
Sir.
That's her first time saying. That's my favorite stinger.
I watched that movie on Tubi.
Oh my gosh,
I did.
It really is horrifying.
He cuts a woman upside down. She's
I know. It's like
right
both,
down the
I know.
middle with
It's
a
weird-
chainsaw.
Well, that's what we're doing to China. So
I could never find that saw at Home Depot.
at 12:18, Donald Trump dropped a post on Truth Social that probably is going to end up in history books. You'll have, the only thing to fear is fear itself, and a day that will live in infamy. And JFK.
Oh.
Ow.
I thought you meant the moonshot.
Yeah, right. Oh, that stung.
Oh, God.
Put up the roof.
This is the last words were, shut up, Jackie.
It's a nice day.
Yeah, ricochet. I feel a burn.
It stings.
How's my hair look?
All right, let me pick it up off the street.
So this is the Truth post regarding the pause on the tariffs on China. And there's been a lot of volatility. Obviously, this last week, it's mostly corrected. I want to also drive the point home that there's a very big difference between what is good for Wall Street and what is good for Main Street. Sometimes they are not one and the same. They should complement each other. But we now just had a new report this morning that inflation is down at its lowest since, I believe, 2020. And we just had a really good jobs report, better than expected. Those two things in tandem show you that there is a contrast between what Americans are living and what is being, speculated upon in Wall Street. And we'll get to that in a little bit. But here's the Truth post. He wrote, I guess I have to read all this one since it's going to be historical. Based on the lack of respect that China has shown to the world markets, not the store, I am hereby raising the tariff charge to China by the United States of America to 125%, effective immediately. At some point, hopefully in the near future, China will realize that the days of ripping off the USA and other countries, so many other countries, is no longer sustainable or acceptable. Conversely, and based on the fact that more than 75 countries have called representatives of the United States to negotiate a solution to the subjects being discussed relative to trade barriers, tariffs, currency manipulation, so much currency manipulation, and non-monetary tariffs, and that these countries have not, at my strong suggestion, retaliated in any way, shape, or form against the United States, I have authorized a 90-day pause and a substantially lowered reciprocal tariff during this period of 10%, also effective immediately. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And then the White House added this on X. They put out, do not retaliate and you will be rewarded. That is important. This matters. And I think what you're also seeing here is this administration realized, oh, wait a second, they have more levers to pull. And especially, I think it happened faster. Right away, you had Vietnam that set the stage. Then you had Israel, Japan. They said 50 nations came to them and were willing to have some negotiations. So if you put a pause on China for 90 days, and let's say at the end of those 90 days, you come to the table with pretty much everyone who they had hoped would be some kind of an alliance, you are in the driver's seat.
Yeah, they didn't pause China. They paused everybody else. China hit with retaliatory, so they kept those on and increased them.
Isolation.
Yes. And they paused the other ones, down. And pause them at 10%, to be clear. So they're not non-existent.
Right.
So
you see what he did there, though, when he said ripping us off and other countries.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now it's the world against China. He's now the champion of everybody else, and his phone is ringing off.
He isolated them.
Yeah. No, it's like a drill sergeant. He's like, well, I guess since you stole the Clark bar from the mess hall, everyone else has to do push-ups. So sad for them, but not for you. Eat your Clark bar.
In front of the team.
In front of the team. Eat it. Delicious. Delicious. Push-ups. Now, let's go to the claim that you are hearing from people out there. And by the way, all references available, link in the description. As we have every single show. The claim is that Donald Trump backed down, he blinked, which really, if someone is making this claim and it's not accurate, what could be the motivation? Oh, that's right. Only one reason. They're anti-American.
China increased their tariffs on the United States. Trump blinked.
The U.S. president backed down. Donald Trump changed his mind. He blinked, he capitulated, he caved.
Right, so far, much of the discussion on the president's tariffs and his back down today has come in units of $1 trillion, as in trillions of dollars.
Trump backed down.
Donald Trump backed down to the extent he did without achieving a single
trade deal with a single country in the world.
It's hard not to come to the conclusion.
How can he even say that?
I know. Here.
How can he even say, like, it's on record, by the way. It's clear. And there are far more statements than there are official deals. But how can, every now and then I go, you know what? I'm trying to find some motive other than an underhanded lie. I can't find it. Anyone who tells you not a single deal, they are lying. And again, the 90-day pause still puts a 10% tariff on everyone.
Yeah.
To be clear.
He can say that because don't look at those guys as journalists.
That's true.
If friggin' they're an arm for the Democrat, they're anti-American. That's an understatement. They're basically Marxists. Look at it like that, and then I don't even get upset anymore. I go, that's what a propaganda guy would say.
No, you're absolutely right. And you know what? Rather than just getting upset about it, hey, you're welcome. And thank you that we can now broadcast and you can watch. Like, there's no need for legacy media. And you have made this show and the shows that follow it here bigger than CNN, MSNBC. So we're very appreciative. Please do consider joining Rumble Premium, by the way. If you are not a member, $99 a year, you get us, you get Nick DiPaolo, you get 100% more show, you get Dr. Disrespect, you get Donald Trump Jr., Russell Brand, and you get everything ad-free, and it's the only reason we're able to do what we do. So the 90-day pause, still a 10% tariff on everyone. In the meantime, each country will have the chance to negotiate some kind of a tailored agreement.
We've had more than 75 countries contact us, and I imagine after today there will be more. So it is just a processing problem. Each one of these solutions is going to be bespoke. It is going to take some time, and President Trump wants to be personally involved. So that's why we're getting the 90-day pause. These are trade negotiations, but if countries want to come and offer other things, I talked about yesterday that we are thinking about a big LNG project in Alaska that South Korea, Japan, Taiwan are interested in financing and taking a substantial portion of the offtake. But again, in essence, that is trade because it will decrease the trade deficit that we have with those countries.
And talking with Lane, the canary in the coal mine moment was when Vietnam. Yeah. Because we said
a communist nation.
Yes, the
right
borders
next
China.
Yeah.
The borders China comes running to the United States. We kind of said they were screwed one way or the other, and they need to come to the table quickly.
They did.
But then very quickly after that, Taiwan, Japan, almost simultaneously having conversations, South Korea. You had countries just dominoing in, and quickly China started to feel isolated. Now they're going to push back, and they're going to talk tough. But Donald Trump, basically, if nothing else, we were right from the beginning. Once we got over the initial confusion, we were like, this looks like this is all about
We've been
China.
saying this for a very long time.
Convince. We had to fix some other stuff too, but this is about China. And when Vietnam tipped,
it was immediate. Think about it, it's a communist place at borders, right?
Yes.
And right away, like, no, we're not with them. They're a prick. So
we love America. You kill our troop, but we fine.
We love America. Betty Boo, what a dish.
He did. You can't tell when a Chinaman blinks.
No, it's very difficult.
It's hard. Yeah.
And to be fair, same for the Vietnamese. Don't care if you're mad. So it's made to target China. We know that. And President Trump made it very clear yesterday.
China was by far the biggest abuser in history, and others also. But somebody had to do it. They had to stop because it was not sustainable. Last year, China made $1 trillion off trade with the United States. That's not right. And now I've reversed it. It's for a short period of time. China wants to make a deal. They just don't know how quite to go about it. It's one of those things. They don't know
English.
Quite. They're proud people. And President Xi's a proud man. I know him very well. And they don't know quite how to go about it, but they'll figure it out. They're in the process of figuring it out, but they want to make a deal.
Yeah.
God, I love it.
I love how he said, what did he say? He said, I reversed it to China. Yeah. He's like, I reversed it for China, and then EU, I said, I'll make you skip your turn. Vietnam, wild card.
But think about in these next 90 days how that changes the landscape for China, right?
Big time.
And he needs that time because you heard the guy use the term bespoke, meaning every deal is unique and has to be tailor-made to that country.
Right.
He gets that done.
Yep.
It changes everything.
Absolutely.
How about giving Trump the benefit of the doubt on business?
I know.
People really going to
Good
watch
point.
Lawrence O'Donnell and go, no, he knows more than Trump.
It's always funny to me.
Or
yeah.
Hayes or Matta. Are you shitting me?
Or even The Economist, by the way, they go, The Economist, like, really? You mean The Economist who never predicted the economy, who tanked the economy, who got it wrong many times? Most times, as a matter of fact, it's not even a real science for most of these economists. Let's be very, very clear. You line up 100 economists, you will get 100 different opinions very, very often. A lot of them don't have any real business experience. Stephen Miller actually posted this on X. He said, the days of China pillaging America are over. And by the way, he's right. China steals about $225 to $600 billion worth of IP annually. It's a wow. It's a huge,
that's some racist crap right there.
They are not sorry. They are not sorry.
They even ripped off, just to give you an idea how flagrant it is, they ripped off the Ford Raptor. Do you guys remember this? They literally ripped off the Ford Raptor. Even ripped off
They did?
Yes, they did. Here, bring it back up. The Ford Raptor. Look.
Photon.
Ford Raptor. Never heard of it. They even ripped off our influencers as seen by the recent social giveaway from the Hong twins. I bust all kinds of nuts.
They also stole the Dodge Ram.
And a Kevin.
Here's a Hemi. Dodge Lamb. Hemi. What? Hemi. This whole thing, though, this last week, of course, when you contrast Wall Street compared to the remarkable stability as far as lowering inflation, as far as the improving jobs reports, there's a difference between Wall Street, Main Street. Wall Street, the whole thing has been this last week a roller coaster that's kind of gotten back to square one.
We're making now $2 billion a day.
And we're right back where we started. We're fine. So, China, to be clear, a couple of other things, like I mentioned. Donald Trump signed an executive order, which a lot of people haven't paid attention to increase American shipbuilding.
This executive order, which was prepared primarily by your National Security Council staff and National Security Advisor Waltz, has a number of very significant policy steps, all aimed at restoring American maritime dominance and ensuring that we have the shipbuilding capacity and ability to compete globally, both militarily and in the civilian space as well.
And that could be a good one for Michigan, too. Because we're going to be spending a lot of money on shipbuilding. We're way, way, way behind. We used to build a ship a day, and now we don't do a ship a year practically, and we have the capacity to do it. So we'll talk to you about that. Okay? Shipbuilding. That's a good one.
That's a good one.
I like them in bottles.
I love how he sits at it and the guy explains it to him.
Yeah.
Like he's the
and then he leans over to Whitmer. He's basically going, "This is the carrot. Don't make me get the stick." Now,
imagine maritime dominance. Listen to that phraseology. It's just so great.
Yeah, when's the last time you heard that?
The world just quakes when they hear that.
Well, a lot of people wondering too why Governor Whitmer, the worst person in the country, in my opinion, from Michigan, because the Great Lakes were actually pretty important to shipbuilding through World War I and World War II. Merchant ships, submarines. You guys remember the Fitzgerald, the Edmund Fitzgerald?
Yes, great song.
Told you it was a song.
By a Canadian.
That's right, but it went down, so that's kind of a screw up. And
China's their fault so much as the waves.
China's shipbuilding capacity is 230 times larger than that of the United States. And that matters when you also understand that, okay, they build some ships, and then then we're talking about the Panama Canal, which we paid to build, and China largely has co-opted, if you want to use a term. And Pete Hegseth, with a wonderful head of hair, said, we're not going to do this anymore. I think he was on a recent trip to Panama. Yeah, we have the clip.
The United States of America will not allow communist China or any other country to threaten the canal's operation or integrity. China did not build this canal. China does not operate this canal. And China will not weaponize this canal.
Are you concerned about retaliation from China?
Jesus.
No.
I'm not worried about retaliation from China. We will stand on our own merits. Peace through strength matters. We represent our interests. Put America first. President Trump is staring them down on trade. We will reestablish deterrence.
Now, I want to go to this clip, and I want you to keep something in context. Bernie Sanders, we just showed you about the misgendering clip from earlier, in the same town hall. And I want to be clear, like you just talked about, these people are Marxists. Bernie Sanders is a communist. Let me make my case here. You'll watch him in this clip running defense for China, right? Supporting, making the case for China. Combine that with the fact that Bernie Sanders honeymooned in the USSR while it was the USSR and only started hating Russia when it was no longer communist. Today, he still supports the one communist superpower. Bernie Sanders is not a democratic socialist. He's a communist who honeymooned in the USSR and supports China.
We are a common worldwide humanity. We don't have to hate China. We don't have to hate other people. Let's figure out a way to work together. And by the way,
we hate their government. Yes, we do.
Figure that out globally. Climate change is going to destroy this planet. Climate change is not an American issue. It's not a Chinese issue.
It's a Chinese issue.
We've got to work together.
They're not working with us, Bernie.
Tell us more pandemics may likely come.
From China, you stupid Jay.
Combat those just in America. We got to work globally. So the goal has got to be is to break down these barriers that separate us as human beings, come together as Americans, and come together globally as human beings.
Yeah. Now do Russia. Now do Russia today that's not communist. Hey, because what you honeymooned right there in the USSR. You should have been thrilled with Russia trying to take Ukraine because, hey, that was part of the USSR. This man supports communism at every turn. And by the way, it's so... I don't even have a word for it. It's a global issue. It's not a Chinese issue. That is the opposite of the truth.
Right.
If we globally try and do anything, China will not sign on to the agreements, and they will take advantage of our systems. They will use coal. They will use so in far dirtier fashion than the United States. They will continue to use fossil fuels. Whatever is cheapest and however much human suffering they throw at it to get ahead. They will not play ball. It's not a global issue. And if you want to fix it, you have to start with a little hate in your heart for evil. And I mean it. Have a little hate in your heart for the communist Chinese government. Because you know who also gets screwed? A lot of the people of China. We're not saying we hate every single individual Chinese person. Because guess what? There are people enslaved in China by their government. But Bernie is not saying that. He is supportive of their government. Again, if you doubt it, understand that he honeymooned in the USSR. That doesn't even make sense. There's nothing romantic.
Human suffering really does it for him.
That's right.
He just wants you to think they're trying to work where everyone's trying to work this crap
They're
out.
not. They're trying to work in the exact opposite direction of where they need to go. And we've been trying to bring them into the world community for a very long time by opening up the economies to them. You know what they did with that? They said, thank you very much. We'll take everything from you, and then we're going to leverage it to put you out of business or at least subjugate you to where we can control every single thing that you do. They don't want the world that we want, Bernie. At some point, you have to say, okay, I got to force your hand a little bit. Short of war. Right. You should be saying, thank God somebody's in the White House who can negotiate instead of just sending troops. That is wonderful news. Let's do that.
His mentality is the same as it was in the 60s.
Yeah.
They call themselves progressives. He really believes in that global utopian wet dream. We're all going to hold hands.
Yeah,
How
we're not.
stupid. Look around the world you live in.
Yeah.
You still believe in that shit.
It's like, hey, we can't hate people. Oh, really? What is China do to the Uyghurs? What do they do with What do they do with people who convert to Christianity or proselytize? Do you guys know what it's like to be a missionary in China? Hey, what do they do with people who speak out against their government? It's wrong to hate. It's not wrong to hate evil, and communism is evil. Work your crap out, China, much like, by the way, Billy, the kid, did the other day.
Oh.
What does overpaying on your taxes feel like?
No. What the hell is this? No. What the hell does this even do? No. Please, God, please flush. Not here, not now. Please, God. Please flush. Please flush. No. Oh. Yes. Christ is thank God.
About like that. Don't let the IRS bust your balls. Visit tnusa.com/Crowder or call 958-1000 for immediate relief and expert guidance. Ooh.
That's right. Okay, I have to rapid fire this because Tim Pool is going to be coming up next. And if you're a Rumble Premium member, you can continue watching with us. This has already had net positive results. Let me make the case here. China's foreign ministry already said that they were willing to talk, but they would fight to the end. But really, they're willing to talk. Clip.
中方的立场是明确一贯的，谈大门敞开，但对话必须在相互尊重的基础上，以平等方式进行。打，中方也将奉陪到底。施压、威胁和讹诈，不是同中方打交道的正确方式。
Now, this is important to understand. China's economy, they don't really have many options here. Their economy are primarily built on two things: real estate, that makes up 25% of their GDP. Their exports make up 20% of their GDP. Versus the United States, it only makes up about 10% of our GDP. The real estate market is crashing in China. That is happening right now. So what do? And they've had to do this for a while. They overproduce, try to increase exports. Can't do that because of the tariffs. See how they're stuck between a rock and a hard place? And something else that I wanted to talk about. I think we have this. Do we have the clip right here of the new inflation numbers, or do we have that somewhere? Let me see. Oh, okay, right here. It was just brought in. The inflation came in today at 2.4%. That's the first time it's been below 3% since March of 2021. And the March jobs report saw payroll grow by 228,000. That was 88,000 more jobs than expected. There is a very big difference between Wall Street and Main Street. And I get it. There's nothing wrong with it. Nothing has brought more people out of poverty than equities. I understand that. The problem is when it is no longer a complement to people who are providing tangible goods and services in their community. The problem is when Wall Street flourishes at the cost of Main Street, or they don't recognize the success that Americans are experiencing. Hey, do you have a job? Do things cost less? That has more of an impact on your day-to-day. And we are seeing that as a result of President Trump's policies. But they are so busy trying to vilify this man. They can't have it both ways. Remember how they were saying, oh, Elon Musk is actually the president, the most powerful man in the world. Look at these billionaires and their interests. Elon Musk has seen his net worth grow by whatever it was at that point in time.
Yeah.
But now they attack billionaires. They were trying to say that Donald Trump was bought and sold by billionaires. And now they try and highlight as though it's a victory for them that, oh, look, these billionaires are losing money. Well, doesn't that act as proof positive that Donald Trump isn't at the beck and call of billionaires? In other words, he's saying, look, I get that, Elon, I understand Tesla, China, but tough titties. He's doing it anyway. If he was doing their bidding, he wouldn't do this because Elon stands to benefit. He's the only person who's been allowed to enter China without some kind of a partnership with a communist-controlled entity, whatever they want to call it today. It's the Communist Chinese Party. Here's CNN, actually, an hour ago, talking about how Trump screwed his biggest billionaire supporters, who I guess also own him.
This morning, President Trump's tariff policies have hit some folks who've been supportive of him really hard. The tech companies founded or run by Mark Zuckerberg, Tim Pick, Sundar Pichai, Elon Musk, and Jeff Bezos have lost a collective $1.8 trillion in value so far.
And the loss in share price and value has also affected many of these guys' personal net worths, none more so than Elon Musk, who donated at least $290 million to Trump's campaign. He has now lost $107 billion with a B in net worth since the start of this year. So these guys who supported Trump are really now seeing their personal pocketbooks hit by some of these policies.
Isn't that a good thing? Yeah. Isn't that a good thing? Doesn't that show, is it me? Yeah. That shows that Donald Trump is doing what he thinks is best for the American people.
They're more upset about it than supposedly Trump's friends that lost the billions.
It adds credibility.
Right.
Yeah.
And this echoes what Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said just recently. So the next 4 years are focused on Main Street. In other words, he's not going to be doing the bidding of billionaires. You know who did? I don't know, maybe the person who tried to implement a nationwide vaccine mandate to multi-billion-dollar pharmaceutical companies while shielding them from any and all liability. That seems like doing the bidding of special interests, right? I mean, you need more proof? Kamala Harris, the only reason she was the nominee was because the money, on a technicality, transferred over from the coffers of Biden to her. In this case, you have Donald Trump acting in a, whether you agree or disagree, that would not be in the best interest of giant, multi-billion-dollar international conglomerates who benefit from cheap labor. They would want to keep the status quo, and Donald Trump is doing what he is doing, this administration, in spite of that. And you are seeing in real time the results on inflation, on jobs. And now the media, who, by the way, the people like Bernie Sanders, the people who advocate for the little guy, well, I don't know. Doesn't it sound a whole lot like you're advocating for those on Wall Street? Doesn't it sound a whole lot like you're advocating for special interests? If you care about the little, why don't you tell the average American that, hey, more people are employed and inflation is at its lowest since 2021? That's good. You know why? Because they're anti-American. They don't want Donald Trump to fail. Like I did with Barack Obama. I wanted him to fail in implementing Obamacare. That's true. They don't want this man to fail. They want the country to fail so they can say, I told you so. And if nothing else, you may not like it, this last week has been proof positive that this is the most transparent administration of our lifetime, potentially ever. You've seen the switch. Most of the time, you wouldn't know about the pause. You wouldn't know about the increase. You wouldn't know about which countries have come to the table to negotiate. You may not like it, but transparency is absolutely on the table. And isn't that refreshing?
He does play-by-play of his own administration.
Yeah.
Every day.
Exactly.
I mean, how can you argue any administration has been more transparent than ever? The guy's on TV more than Mike Lindell, for crying out loud.
Yes.
That's hard to do.
My perfect tariffs. You're going to love my tariffs. They're the best tariffs. You stole my idea, asshole. You're an asshole.
Oh, my God.
All right. We're going to continue talking about this and more. And, of course, it is Chat Thursday. For those of you who are Rumble Premium members, you keep watching. You will be taken to our conversations with you. If you are not, right now, you'll be taken to Tim Pool, who's coming up next. No doubt has some interesting new information because while we are live, we're kind of siloed, and I know there have been developments. So enjoy Tim Pool, Rumble Premium. It's Chat Thursday. Let's go. Back. Welcome, new Rumble Premium members. I know you have something to say, Gerald, but bring it up really quickly. Nick DiPaolo is going to be at the Cohoes Music Hall Friday, April 25th. Go support, enjoy live comedy, especially someone like Nick DiPaolo who you won't be able to walk right for a week. He's so funny. Don't heckle him. Dear God, don't heckle him.
Oh, don't heckle him.
And don't do it because you think it's going to be fun. It's not. I mean it. This is not being cutesy. Don't do it. Go out and enjoy it. The hardest thing to cheat in this industry, there's a lot of fraud out there. People purchase views, people purchase clout, is subscribers, live viewers, and live ticket sales. So go out and show your support. Gerald, you had something to say?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to say, like, I think what pisses Bernie off is that, and let me broaden it. Well, yes, broadly speaking, and the left really is that we have billionaires that are spending a lot of money on our side, and it's not just the George Soroses, and all the industries and all the unions and stuff donating, and the left doesn't know how to make both people successful. That's the problem.
Right.
Their solution to Wall Street having too much money is take from Wall Street, give to the poor. Make the poor dependent on you in the process, right? So that you can maintain control. What Trump is saying here is like, look, Wall Street can be successful, but not at the expense of Main Street. So let's make Main Street a little bit more of a focus. We're not taking anything away from you.
Right.
We're just focusing on them. And so both of you guys can be successful.
Yeah.
It leaves the Democrats without a home. They don't know how to do this. The only thing they can do is identity politics and try to put one class against another class.
Yeah, although he did just say recently that he would consider increasing taxes on higher middle class earners, which I'm not a big fan of.
Well, there was a conversation around not even having an income tax on something under like $150,000. So there was kind of some floating things around there. And so how do we?
And I think that's a horrible idea.
I don't
You have
know.
to have skin in the game.
So, but yeah, I mean, I think paying taxes is one of those things that you should be able to. You have to do that to be able to vote,
right?
Something like that. I think I could hear a conversation about that at the very least.
Doesn't affect me. I cleared 12.5 doing comedy.
Good for you.
Nice, Nick. That's a big increase.
Let me just say this.
And the rest was paid in cash.
Yes.
I mean, not paid. They stiffed him on the bill.
They can't fathom that he cares about the small businesses on Main Street. They can't fathom a guy can be a billionaire and do both.
Right. Yeah. Well, if you also understand too, Donald Trump, a lot of his businesses, a lot of the goods or services, like people mock him for whatever Trump ties or Trump steaks. Like these are things that would have to be purchased.
Trump winery.
By a large base of consumers. In other words, they don't just cater to billionaires. Sure, he has some resorts and stuff like that, but even then they're more competitively priced. If you look at some of the hotels, like it's not just designed for the elite. That's very different from someone who has entirely worked for some kind of a Wall Street bank their entire lives, who's never actually created anything. That is also a big difference. Someone can be a billionaire and they've never created anything. Donald Trump was involved from the ground up, actually building things, actually selling things. That is different. That is different.
And he always brings it back to global warming too, or climate change.
Bernie, yeah.
You remember, it wasn't long ago. Remember LA smog?
Oh, yeah.
Not a thing anymore.
That was a series
that
on
is the
CBS,
entire mainland China now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They're not the problem. What?
Yeah.
Chinese, they cancel Little League in China. Kid hit a line drive. It's stuck in the sky.
It's a step ladder to go up like a cartoon.
And failed fly rule.
Yeah. And India. By the way, too, India.
Yeah.
Oh, another beautiful place.
A lot of poop. So that's not good for the carbon emissions. Like, this is the thing. Let's assume climate change. For Bernie to think that he has any type of an argument. All right, we have to start off with assuming that all climate scientists agree that the Earth is warming, that we're the ones who are directly contributing to it, that it has catastrophic results, and that our government policy would fix it. Okay? You still would have to make the leap that China and India and other countries, countries, particularly China, that is adversarial, like they would have a vested interest, even if it was better for the world, but they felt like it was bad for the United States, they would still do the opposite of it.
Yes. Yep.
You cannot go down that logic trail and say, yeah, each of these checks out. You just can't. Even if you are the most dyed-in-the-wool climate alarmist, it's got to be a bridge too far to believe that China's going to play ball and they're just not going to counteract. They never do.
Have. And it's like, this is not a China problem. Yes, it is.
It is.
They don't care at all.
It absolutely is. If it is a real thing, China has to play ball on it, or it doesn't matter. Everybody else is just kind of play acting at that point.
Are they still opening
Wasting
like a
their
coal
money.
plant a day or 20 a day?
I don't
It's
know.
a
but
lot.
It's enough.
It's a lot. The whole country is October sky.
They don't really care. By the way, some good news. And look, I want to make one quick point too. If you go out and say, hey, the markets are like the markets can go up and you can be happy about the markets going up. They're going down significantly today because people are waking up and realizing, oh, we still have a trade war with China. That's still kind of a different thing to get through economically. Fine. We'll still have to deal with that. Don't pin your hopes on what the stock market is doing on any one day. There's so many conservatives out there.
How many times
how do
you have
like
to say
them
that?
apples? And I'm like, just wait a day.
I
Come
know.
on, buddy. Like that's not going to work on our side.
right as always.
Yeah, Jim. Yeah, all those things. So don't do that. But just understand, like there are a lot of good things that are happening. We brought up two of them already: the jobs report and also the inflation report. This just happened just a little while ago. The House actually voted to approve Donald Trump's bill, right? So his budget resolution joint, it passed the House. It had already been approved, I believe, by the Senate. It's paved the way for Trump's tax cuts as well as over $1 trillion in savings. So these are all good things. This may take a minute for this to be priced into the market because the market is freaked out about China right now, understandably so, trade wars. And Donald Trump just needs to start signing some deals. Once he starts signing some deals, I think a lot of people will go, okay, this is him actually doing this and not just saying he's doing it. Okay, we can kind of trust in that and move forward.
Yeah,
we're like
There's
children over here, though.
Yeah, we are.
I mean, if it doesn't happen in 24 hours, what's going on?
Go on.
That's not how the market ever works.
No, exactly. Go on your app if you
grow
have
up.
I don't know if they have it on Android. Go on your stock app, right? Even if you don't have any. Okay, now go to the S&P or go to the Dow, go to the NASDAQ. Okay, go this week, go a month. Now go 5 years, go 10 years, go all time. Just look at it. Okay.
Stay in the all-time view. If you have a problem with like emotional selling, stay in the all-time view.
Yeah. But even if you just go to the 10-year view, you
I
go to the
don't get it.
5-year view.
Yeah,
But
I know.
certainly 10 years is pretty important because that's how a lot of people base their planning for retirement. But yeah, just look at all time.
It's not bulls and bears. It's pigs and chickens. It's greed and fear, right?
Yeah.
Talk about
That's all it
dating.
is. It's all emotion. Yeah. Pigs and chickens. It's all emotion. It's all.
No, it is. That's
But
why I
enough
don't
about
understand.
Iranian singles.
I put my brother in charge of my money. He made me $8,000 yesterday.
Really?
He knows how to play the market.
He lost 20
You don't.
today.
You don't
though,
make
so,
it till you
yeah.
take it.
No.
Did he? Is it
We
paper?
probably got whacked
paper,
this morning, but what are you going to
paper
do?
profits or actual profits?
Just
I
leave
used to
it
lose that
there.
on the Celtics and the Bruins.
That's true.
So I feel much better about my.
Yeah, it's it is. It's one of it's like people.
You're adults, though. Your whole life you've been told that. Just don't look at it for a while.
Yeah.
I mean,
Let it
Jesus.
cook.
Got
Yeah,
anything
give it
else
some
to
time.
do?
I mean, honestly, if you didn't try and time any dips whatsoever, if you just deposited the same amount every month, you'd be fine.
Yeah.
You still would be fine. Even
People
if you
in
had
the
some
last few decades didn't Zillow their house every day, too. I mean,
No,
That's true. Yeah.
yeah.
who cares?
I do that to look at the broads laying by the pool.
yeah.
Yeah, that's gone up in value. Look at it.
That was a guy.
Well, it's hard to tell these days. They go by
It
they,
is.
them.
He was a European. They wear thongs too. So.
Yes, they do. Nothing wrong with a nice ass on a fella.
Well, I mean, and when it comes down to it too, it's really interesting. Like, look at the stats behind who owns stocks too. The bottom 50% of the country owns between 0 and 1% of equities.
Yep.
And that includes 401ks. That includes every possible way to own stocks. They own between 0 and 1%. You would think that Democrats would be, because of their rhetoric, would be way more focused on that group of people. And if you want to even expand it, 88% of equities are owned by the top 10% of people in the United States, 10% of earners. That leaves 12% for everybody else in there, which is not insignificant, but it's certainly not a giant number. If you care about the working class, you're talking about people below that 10% line most of the time.
Here's
Are
the
you
thing.
focused on the stock market or are you focused on the price of goods?
And not only that, but during President Trump's first term, obviously you saw record gains. We always made it a point. I said, look, that's great, but we'll add that in as an addendum. Let's focus on average household income.
Yeah.
On the median household income. I said, let's focus on that because there's a strong contrast. Barack Obama, 8 years, went up about $1,000. Donald Trump went up $4,400, I believe, even including COVID, but I certainly know the first 3 years. Joe Biden went down about $4,000. I'm very curious to see what the average either median or household income is in the United States at the end of Donald Trump's term.
That's a good number. We've used that a lot in the show.
It's
I
very
think
important.
It's a real good number.
It's very, especially when in tandem with the fact that inflation was incredibly low during Trump's first term. So if the average household income in 3 years went up by $4,400 and gas was cheaper, and it was, and goods and services, the inflation, right, had cooled to a point that no one thought it was even possible. Right. Remember, I think inflation at one point was below 2%, where people were concerned that it was getting too low, if I'm not mistaken. I remember that. I think it was at 1.8 one time,
It was really close. Yeah, it was 1.8, 1.9. So
yeah.
right
Because
on.
remember, he said, I think people say a good number is 3 or 4%. I say 1%. People are like, no, you can't do that. I definitely think below 2. Like, you can't do below 2. Gotcha, bitch. So
but I also don't understand people's short-term memory. Darren, I think you said it a second ago. Like, we
Gerald's
used to,
short-term memory.
No. This is different. I couldn't see who was talking at the time, but I think we don't have a very good palate for long-term thinking. We don't think like,
It's true.
okay, we have to let this kind of play out a little bit because
that was
he's
me.
able to reset China's trade with us. Long-term, that is an incredible good. And it may take a few years for that to fully flesh out. People need to be patient with that. People need to go, you know what, I need to be able to do this. And they also forget, they have so much faith in these economic experts that come on TV. They also forget that every single time we've had a crash, the experts didn't see it coming. They never do. And then they go, whoops, we had too much of this, or we had too little of that, or we had too many regulations over here. It's like, listen, guys, there is no such thing as a soft landing for any kind of length of time. It doesn't happen. We have seen nothing but bubbles and bursts, right? That's what we've seen. If Donald Trump's able to reset this, it gives us hope for maybe not having a terrible, long, drawn-out death as a country and an economy.
Yep.
That's fantastic.
We've always been about immediate satisfaction in this country. I mean, that's always been, and money, you can't do that. You just can't.
Yeah. Well, even ties
and that's why the 4 year, like you bring up at the end of Trump's 4 years, that's a good number because it's a good sample size.
Yeah. It's a very important
of letting it play out.
Yeah. When you see the inflation, like in common, that's huge. If your income goes up a couple or a few $1,000s and the costs of goods goes down, that's about as good as you can hope for. And that's what we had.
Well, that's a graphic representation of Reagan's, are you better off today than you were before? That's really what it is.
Yeah.
And it's a net number.
And
you
how
and
short,
yours, how are you today?
And how short-term Americans are is COVID. If not for COVID, of course, Donald Trump would have won in a landslide. But like, oh, we're scared. And the Democrats, their messaging worked at that point. And now people have woken up to it. But at that point in time, cumulatively, it worked. It worked. And cumulatively, it's worked where the left has tried to make you think, oh, China's not all that bad. These were the same people protesting sweatshops at the Gap in the early 2000s when Bush was president. I just want to be really clear about that. Like, did you guys forget this? What happened to Code Pink? Right? What happened to protesting sweatshops? Those were now all of a sudden, no. We need China.
They like their iPhones too much.
Yeah, they like their iPhones too much. And our economy needs basically indentured servants as
just not here,
migrant workers.
Over there where I can't see it.
Right. Well, even here too, though. Who's going to pick your lettuce? Who's going to clean your toilets?
Oh, that's
my wife.
Well, if she's been watching her PSAs.
That's it.
Clean that.
She knows what's good for her.
Yes. There should be no spackle on the bowl.
But I might reveal.
But that's the same thing. Immediate gratification with them and relationships. Like, and I will say, it is largely a feminization of society.
Don't want Tony Soprano.
A feminization. Yeah,
that's Tony Soprano.
It is though. It really is. You see it short term. Hey, how does this make you feel? Yeah. Not what is right, not what is your duty, not what is virtuous, not what is your code. How does this make you feel? Same thing with women watch. I don't like that. That doesn't make me feel good, that PSA. I don't like the way the stock market makes me feel today. Okay, but do we have a duty to our citizens? Does that count for anything, or is it just about how you feel? Do you have a duty if you are in a partnership with your husband, if it's a single income household, to do that and treat that home like a job? It doesn't matter how you feel. And again, men know this more because no man has ever felt like going into work every day. You think he wants to be out there on a construction site? He's going to go, well, I'm sure there was some paperwork that he was tired of. I mean, sure, there must have been something.
Yeah, one of those broads was real yappy.
Yeah, I'm sure at some point he just would have liked him to shut up, watch his old talkies in peace.
He probably drowned a few in the grotto we don't even know about.
Oh, yeah, I guarantee you, Hefner. All right, let's grab some chats and hear what you guys think. Chat Thursday.
Chat.
Drew Barrymore's on TV and she grosses me out.
Ozempic face.
She just really, you've watched her show. She is an idiot.
Wait, she has a show?
In a nice way, though. She's a hippie idiot.
Oh, somebody do me a favor. Pull up Michelle Obama's show.
She won Mr. Olympia.
Oh my gosh. Her views are, they have cratered, and they were not high to begin with. They have cratered.
You mean her podcast show?
60,000 was her high watermark, I think, wasn't it?
Why would you want to listen to her?
I think she had over 100,000 or over 200,000 views on maybe a couple of them initially.
Who wants to listen to a linebacker do a podcast?
It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
Still sponsored by Ionic or
maybe you're
sponsored. Wasn't there a big sort of military manufacturing company?
Something like that.
if I'm not mistaken.
A car manufacturer, a military company.
Yeah, was it Raytheon? No, it's something like that.
Really?
Yeah, there was something.
They need those 10 viewers.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
Meanwhile,
11 houses,
Meanwhile, we have Diageo telling Rumble that if we're on there, they'll pull all of the advertising because because who would possibly want to advertise to a show of this size with an entirely 18 to 40-year-old demographic? Oh, that's right. Everyone throughout history. No, go with Michelle Obama and 30,000 geriatrics. Let's grab some chats.
Diageo, that's
no offense to old man's corner over there.
What are you talking about, you son of a bitch?
We call that dead man's corner.
Smells a little funny.
I was going to say something smells over here.
Heaven's waiting room.
Yes.
Or hell.
Osteoporosis.
Well, the last time someone sat there, he died.
All right. First chat from FedNY. Question for the crew. Can we use civil forfeiture against everything illegals have and all that land China bought? Think of the auctions and homes Gen Z could buy.
Stop it.
Boy,
I don't like the illegals part because, we'll figure that out other ways. But on China, absolutely.
Yes.
So 100%, especially their illegal grow farms where they're growing weed.
Yeah.
I don't even know how this is a question.
By the way, you don't even have to make a case. You just send them a letter. You're communist. You don't even believe in the concept of personal property. Oh, shit.
This is ours now.
Yeah. They don't even believe in it.
Oh, those plants are nice.
China's just proof positive that the people in charge, they never believe it.
No.
They never practice any of it.
Sell it,
no,
though.
that's right.
No.
There's
absolutely
awful.
There's no safety net in China. Not like they don't protect or help their people at all. They're just bags of meat.
They weld them in during COVID.
Yeah, I
remember. They did. They welded them into their apartments.
Yeah.
Let them starve to death. Now, that's how you should handle people.
I remember seeing that report. I didn't know if they were welding Chinese men in or it was those people trying to get the Chilean miners. It looks the same.
Pretty much. All the screaming. It's like, they'll be fine.
Yeah.
Look on your Ring camera. There's a guy in a helmet and a blowtorch.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, exactly.
The reason they welded them in is because they could hear them in the apartment going, I work in the lab. I'm sick. Everyone in lab is sick.
Yeah. Listen, I'm just telling you. That's what a real lockdown to save everybody's life looks like.
Hand me bro torch. And Prux.
I'm not advocating for it. It's just that was a different level.
Yes, it was a different level. They don't care about their people.
No,
they were crying from those residential towers. The wailing.
We talked to a guy that was there. What was he, an Australian or something like that?
I don't.
That's
can't
right.
remember where he was from, but we talked to somebody who was either there at the time or had just left. I think it was just left.
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't know. Let's grab a chat.
All right, next chat from Mariano Alvarez. Question for Crowder. China is unfair in many ways. IP rights and land ownership, for example. Should Trump push China to fix that?
Well, he is.
If they refuse, should Trump twist the knife, and how?
What do you?
That's
what we just.
Jesus.
We just.
What do
we just did the whole show.
Was that?
We just did the whole show. Like you. Do you just come in only for chat and have it on mute?
Hey, rewind the show, Mario.
Yeah, come on, man. I agree, but we just talked about the tariffs. We just talked about the executive order on shipbuilding. As far as intellectual property, this is going to. I'm trying to remember. He had some proposal to specifically on intellectual property, but of course, cutting the head of the beast off first with the tariffs is what's most important because they're only able to flood the market and be an export-based economy through stealing stuff. So if they're not able to subsidize it, even though they subsidize losses, but still at least be within the margins, if they're not able to do that at all, it wouldn't really make sense to steal intellectual property to the same degree. So yeah, any tool in our toolbox should be used.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a problem that I knew people who would go to trade shows and they would have people who were assigned their only job was to stop Chinese people from stopping by their booth and taking pictures to reverse engineer it and copy it. It's a real problem.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a real problem. They're not going in to take tourist photos. They're going in and they're taking pictures.
And the rest of the world just said, "Okay,
yeah.
Well, you got a lot of people over there that can make up stuff really cheaply for us. So we'll do it."
That intellectual property theft works here too, huh, Nick? We can't talk about that case.
No, that's right.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
not.
Mom's the word.
Well, I had a libertarian once tell me that intellectual property, I don't believe in it, doesn't exist.
Oh, really?
He said, because protecting intellectual property rights violates real property rights. I said, all right, let me hear this theoretical bullshit. He said, well, for example, if I have ham and I have bread and I have mustard and I have lettuce, but you create a ham sandwich and you procure the intellectual property rights to it, you're violating my property rights to not be able to do what I want with these elements to make a ham sandwich. I'm like, okay, you going to stick with that? Like, is that really what you want to stick with here? You're going to compare that to the designing of a computer. Right. You're going to compare that to even the writing of a novel or the writing of a stand-up bit. Like, it's like that old quote on pornography. We all know intellectual property when we see it. And how do you hold that position? And then these same libertarians say, well, you know what? It's good, actually, free trade, because we're not a raw materials economy. We're an innovation and a technology-based economy. Okay. But you just said there's no intellectual property, right? It's not a thing. Listen to these libertarians.
And in your own example, you didn't even offer to sell the sandwich.
Right. Yeah.
And profit from it. I mean, you've missed the point. You can eat the sandwich.
Sure.
Have at it.
Yeah.
Just don't sell it and call it a sandwich.
I give the Chinese a break on the intellectual property theft stuff because I stole intellectual property from every Asian kid I sat next to on a map. I'm saying
the ultimate payback.
Yes, that's intellectual property right there.
That's fair. That's fair.
And I still got a C-. It's dumb. Found the
That's
only dumb.
Oh no,
because you misspelled your name.
That's because he was Cambodian.
That's right. And I didn't know. I thought he was Chinese. I thought he was Filipino.
Yeah. No.
Unbelievable.
No, you go to him if you need to learn stick fighting.
Yeah, I know how to cook a German Shepherd.
Let's grab another chat.
All right, next chat from Genetics4. For Crowder, AOC calls for investigation of insider trading over yesterday's market jump. I agree. Start with Pelosi and Schumer 5 years back. Thoughts?
Of course, yeah. But is she calling for it today with the drop?
No, she's not. She's saying yesterday, like, we have to investigate this.
Short sellers
came in. Actually, they were buying, I guess they were going long on the market right before he announced those things. So
I think Schiff was saying the same thing. So it was the new talking points just dropped.
I want to take credit.
Exactly.
Yeah,
everybody wants an investigation now.
Huddle up, ready, break. Let's go.
Well, I mean, look,
get to your microphone.
Exactly. And I think it sucks because you're like, where have you guys been? We've been saying this for a very long time. Every one of these guys needs to have fewer rights than we do when it comes to trading stocks. They need to tell us the day of.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
we're on the Biden administration, people making fun of AOC and stuff. I go, I got a feeling her fingers are all, we didn't know who was handling Biden.
Yeah.
I go, I see a lot of AOC in this administration. And turns out all these books that are being written now say she had a lot to do with.
Yeah,
but she's got her fingerprints all over a lot of this stuff.
The squad has
right.
The squad has influence that is disproportionate to their size, for sure.
Yeah, especially her.
Yeah, well,
nice tits.
Yeah, that's why.
Honestly,
I mean, that's honestly it. These publishers aren't necessarily ladies' men. So she just walks into Penguin or Simon and Schuster. They go,
swing.
We should pay teachers like professional ball players.
Yes. She walks in, they talk to her like Dennis Hopper in Blue Velvet. Let's grab chat.
All right, next chat from Ren Petey. What are your thoughts on companies and organizations that celebrate and take off for the made-up Juneteenth nonsense, but not for Veterans Day or Memorial Day?
Oh, they should be shot in front of their kids.
Shame.
Yeah, there you go. Shame them. Shame them. Yes, right. Juneteenth, is that the Black Day?
What is Juneteenth?
Yeah.
Can somebody?
The Black Day?
Is that a whole month? Or
I think Juneteenth is it like a day about slaves being free or something?
Yes,
I know it has to do with the blacks. I think it might be the NBA draft.
Yeah,
Biden made it a holiday.
Yeah,
it's Juneteenth. See made up holidays like
yeah,
Kwanzaa.
exactly.
Commemorates the Emancipation Proclamation.
Okay, there you go. All right. Yeah, who did that, by the way? A white guy? Yeah, you know what? Let's call that one of ours.
Yeah. Kwanzaa's rich in history. Going back to what, 1988, April?
Yeah, exactly. When the guy was beating women with soldering irons and placing bleach hoses in their mouths. Thanks, Ron Everett. I'm sorry, Karenga. Thank you for those three colors that show us symbolically the representation of African unity. What was the other one? Rape. I'm trying to remember.
Killing Asians.
Yeah.
And a 48 vertical leap. 48 inches.
Exactly.
Oh, come on. That's some racist shit.
That's what they do instead of a Christmas tree. It's just what's that vertical thing there? You know what it is where you jump up and you hit the little
plastic.
What's it called? Mr. Vertical.
It's a vertical leap.
That's right.
That's their Christmas tree.
I don't want to say what that's called.
There's a Christmas tree. Yeah, you got a 32.
By Jimmy the Greek.
You got a 32? Looks like it's cold. Let's grab a chat.
I thought you meant a tetherball. You like?
Oh, that game. I love tether. You know why tetherball is so fun?
Yeah, you can cripple young girls.
Yes. But it's one of those
the game
games.
is won.
It's one of those games, depending on height, where the game is already done, but you have to watch yourself get humiliated for like another 20 seconds. Just boom, boom, boom. You're like, this is going to be
There was a
embarrassing.
clip online of a woman getting drilled in the head by herself. Oh my God.
By herself.
Yeah, she hit the thing and it came around and just laid her out like she had a Mexican husband. Let me tell you, folks.
Maybe, guys, you can find that. If you can find the tetherball lady,
Wait, the Mexican husband or the tetherball? Okay.
No, tetherball. Either one. I'll take either at this point. Put a Mexican hat dance underneath it, and it'll be fine.
You hear that when I beat my horn in my car.
All right, next chat from Crystal DC. Question for the crew. Do you have any dating advice for Christian conservative women?
Take off your panties once in a while.
That's not dating, Nick.
Yeah, it is.
Not so much.
What are you doing?
I will say this. This is a tough one because you're going to have to. Unfortunately, the church has been so permeated by feminism that a lot of Christian conservative women still want the sort of perks from that.
Yeah,
where they're like, no, I actually want a man to be masculine. I don't like the new feminized men. I want a man who's going to, and they run through a list of expectations and duties. But then if the man is like, okay, I'm going to also. That's going to be a back and forth. They still see that as an aspect of control. So I would say this, be very clear. What is it that you want? Okay. And then what qualities do you need to have in order to get that? It's that if you want a traditional conservative Christian man, okay, chastity, not having a huge body, wanting to be home, wanting to be a homemaker, wanting to fulfill traditional gender roles. Because if you want that guy and you go, but I'm a girl boss and I do what I want and, everything is a mutual decision and we're going to do it by committee, guess what? You're not going to end up with that guy. And you're seeing even non-young Christian men now saying, yeah, you know what? They don't like what's in the dating pool. So I would. Going to a church to find a guy is not the advice that matters most at that point. That's what I'd like. Go to church. It doesn't matter.
If it's a black church, you meet on the dance floor.
That's true. That's true that you do. Especially if you find a good snake handler. That means that he'll take care
and place your napkin neatly on your lap.
That's right.
Remember not to monopolize the conversation.
Remember not to monopolize the conversation because the fact is you're a woman and what you have to say to him is probably not that interesting.
Start with a smaller fork.
He doesn't care about Becca or what she did that day. She's a bitch.
No, look, and I think another thing to do is this question has come up more recently. And look, I know there's a lot of people out there that hate talking about stuff like this because it's uncomfortable, but we need to be a little uncomfortable because it's not working.
It's not working
right now. It's just absolutely not working. It's kind of like the China thing. You got to fix it.
Yeah.
It's going to be messy. It's going to hurt a little bit. We got to fix it. For guys, like you look at what scripture tells you to do to be a man, a provider, a husband, right?
Sure.
You do that. Ladies, I think the same thing. And I think a lot of ladies don't necessarily have an answer to that question. Andrew Wilson asked that of Tommy Loren on Piers.
That was pretty tough.
It was really tough. And look,
let's bring up that clip.
No, when you say scripts, you mean like articles in Hustler, right?
No. I mean, seriously, like if this is a Christian conservative woman and it's like, okay, well, this is the playbook. Like we have the playbook right here. So don't shy away from difficult stuff like looking at what submission really does mean in scripture. Don't think of some antiquated version of I just have to do everything that my abusive husband says because that's what people will go to. And it's like, no, that's not the thing. The husband is addressed right there as well. Lay down your life just as Christ laid down his life for the church. What did Christ do? He served the church sacrificially. It's about mutual service to one another, trying to outdo one another. There are roles and there is a hierarchy in this because the husband is the head of the house. This stuff is all in scripture.
Yep.
We're not making any of it up. We're not bringing the patriarchal view. No, we're bringing God's prescription on how this will work best. You can do it however you want, but this is how it works best.
Yeah,
it does. And feminism threw a real wrench in that.
Yep,
man.
It did.
Well, you know what? It took as an insult. What is required to make a woman feminine to a man. Now, look, okay, if you're a woman and you're watching this, right? A man can say, well, actually, I think I should bring this. If a man said, well, you know what, actually, I don't think it's right for you to expect me to be the earner, for you to expect me to go down with my Walther in the middle of the night when something goes bump. And I don't think it's right that you expect me to lay down my life for you. And I don't think it's right that if a man goes, you know what, I'm going to make myself attractive to you. I'm going to be a stay-at-home dad. I'm going to be out of shape. I'm going to lack confidence, but I'm going to be really sensitive. Like that's the man, and you should like it. Does that work, women? No, it doesn't. So let me distill this, what has always been attractive to men. Okay. And yes, there are variances, right? There are different kinds of relationships and different attractive qualities about individual people. When you watch that PSA and you read in the Bible, you just talked about Jesus giving sacrificially. What is feminine? We distill it here. What makes a good wife? What makes a good mom? What attracts a man? It's this simple. It's meeting the needs of your family and husband before they know they have them. It's serving them. It's finding out what they need and preempting it. It's like they talk about, making sure the house is quiet. Hey, the reason that baking is something that people see as, you know why? Because it's something nice. Hey, he's probably hungry. He's probably had a long day. When you think of your grandmothers and you think of the hearth and home and you think of those matriarch figures, what were they doing? They were serving people, right? The old joke, like eat. I'm full. She's going to make you eat anyway. She's trying to serve you before you even ask to. That is an attractive quality. That is something that women have been striving to do for a very, very long time. And all of a sudden, it became a third rail where women said, we're not going to do it. And it became sexist for a man to like that, to want it.
Yeah.
But that hasn't changed. I'm telling you, that hasn't changed.
Yeah.
You don't even like the words. Meet the needs and serve them before your family knows they have them. That is the most feminine quality that exists.
Yeah.
We're so far from fighting over a man saying like, this would be nice. And what? So you think I'm just... That's what it is. You do that, you're going to have much better luck finding a man.
Oh, man. I tell you what, like read Proverbs 31. That was something that my wife and I talked a lot about when we were in the dating kind of process, like what all this meant. And that was a very good conversation to have because you find out like, hey, like this stuff really does work in practice when guys are not jerks and women aren't nagging and in your face. Like these things actually work so much better. So why try to do it another way? Women, if you're in the church right now and you're looking for a good man, start embodying those characteristics and you will have to beat them off with a stick.
Yep.
Because there's just so few of them out there that are willing to do that. There's tons of them that are willing to place expectations. And it's been that way for a long time.
It's been that way for a long time. Think every man who's entered the date. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. It's funny to me because I'm not I look at some of the other people in this space. I won't name names. And I hate so much of how they approach this. The overcorrection is absolutely worse than the disease in this part in some of these cases. And I'm just like, guys, you're going completely the opposite way. I understand why there's an overcorrection because that happens when you have these issues, but that's not a biblical solution at all. And don't tell me that you're somebody who subscribes to the faith and then say what you say.
Yeah.
But there is a reason for it. So ladies, man, please just look at that. Don't listen to me. Just listen to what God says. Proverbs 31. Go there. Go and look in Ephesians. Go look what it means to be a good wife and a good mother and a good partner.
We all know.
Guys will flock to that.
Yeah, we all know what, when people say, I want to be a gentleman, we all know what that means, right? That's a duty. That's an expectation, right? Men are taught from very, very young.
On the way down.
Yes, exactly. Right. You get a little squeeze, a little pinch. Nice. Men are taught, you judge a man, right? Often in relationships, you judge a man by how he treats a woman because we all know that men are taught how to correctly treat a woman, right? Now it doesn't mean that all men follow it. Can we say the same about women in the modern world? Are they taught how to treat a man? We're all taught how to treat a man.
by Gloria Steinem and her whores.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Let me give you one that's really
actually a good point. There used to be a lady. What does that mean?
You should be finishing school.
Yeah.
And they did.
We don't have that anymore. Think about
walk with that book on your head.
Let me give you one really uncomfortable. You want to find a good, okay.
Yes.
This is an answer that would have been incredibly obvious. It wasn't a discussion. But every man who has entered into the dating space, okay, every man, even Christian conservative man who is looking for a woman is a little bit, and you shouldn't be, a little bit nervous of the conversation if you both work, right? Okay, who's going to give up what? I'm going to give you the answer to, so what, just because I get married, I give up my identity and my work for the sake of his? Yes, of course. That's the answer. Yes, absolutely. It's not even close. That is the arrangement. If not, don't get married.
Does your wife know this?
Next chat. All right. Do we have the clip?
We do.
Yeah. So this is, and by the way, Andrew Wilson is not someone who advocates going out sleeping with a bunch of women and stuff. He may be abrasive.
No, there's some guys,
but he's largely right.
He's definitely abrasive, but
he's right. He doesn't say anything you can disagree with from a Christian perspective.
A question that I was like, man, if women had an answer to this question, that would be very helpful. That would be very beneficial.
Because he is surrounded. Please, I hope that you start at the right point. He's surrounded by. There's a gay guy on this panel. There's Piers Morgan. There's another guy I don't know, and then there's Tomi Lahren. So basically, 4 women and Andrew Wilson. And he does. Full disclosure, Tomi Lahren has been on the show. I have had nothing but cordial interactions with her. So this is not me. But just in this instance, I do think he lasers in on a point, and he talks about how this sort of facade of conservative women who are traditional, they just want to reap the benefits, but they don't want to face the accountability and the same duties that they place on men. and he does repeat the question and ask it. And it's uncomfortable, but I think it's illuminating. Let's watch it.
You can be a man who has feelings and emotions, but you can also go to war and protect and defend your family. I'm hoping we can get back there. But the two extremes right now, they're confusing men, and quite frankly, they're leaving women with few choices. And that's the real tragedy here.
You see, I completely agree with you, but Andrew, you were shaking your head quite vigorously. Why?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just more feminine or feminist nonsense, ultimately. And the covert feminism in society is big, especially on the conservative side. So here's what happens, right? Women need to have feminine virtues for men to be pursuing masculine virtues, for you to say things like, well, men, what I want is for men to protect me and I want men to make money. Well, that's great. What that ends up doing is it gives you a set of privilege in society. What do men get? What do men get for doing that for you? What are we getting from women for doing that? Are we getting chaste virgins on our wedding night? No, we're not getting chaste virgins on our wedding night. Are we getting women of great virtue? No, we're not getting women of great virtue. The idea of courtly love is supposed to be done for women of great virtue. Where are they? Well, they're nowhere. And so in modernity, in society, when female conservative influencers say this, it's actually a form of covert feminism. They're saying, I want privilege in society. Right? But what is it women are giving to men to get it? What are they giving them?
Hungry man dinner.
Well, can I please chime in here?
Yes, you can. And then James can.
Shut up, queer.
No, I would love to. I love this whole thing of like, if you're a female conservative and you don't believe that men should be douchebags, that all of a sudden you're a covert feminist. Call me a feminist. I really don't give one crap one way or another. But I can tell you this, a lot of these men, these podcast hosts on the right that like to think of themselves as these big masculine men, and what am I getting out of it? I can tell you this.
There's that feminism.
All right, I believe I'm a woman of virtue, right?
Out.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, there's the feminism. Oh, and then you're interrupting me too,
Didn't
which
take
is great.
long,
I let
did
you
it?
talk.
Didn't take
It's my
long,
turn.
did it?
I love it.
Then he goes on, though. I don't know if you can find it, where I think what Joe was talking about. He goes, you just named, maybe it was before that, you can name duties for men. Because you have a bunch of people going, I think that men should be whatever they want and they should be sensitive. And she goes, well, I'm not a feminist. I don't want that. I don't want a man who cries. I want a man who bing, bing, bing. Goes, okay, so you just named duties. What's your duty? Well, you don't have to be a douchebag. No, you just named what's your duty. And it was a very, you may think he's abrasive.
Hold on,
he's right.
He is abrasive. I think he does that on purpose. He provokes conversations.
Sure. Yeah.
And I listened to a lot of Andrew to kind of understand a little bit more about his thinking. And half the time I was pissed off at him. And the other half of the time I'm like, all right, I understand where he's going with this and why he's making this point or asking this question. He does piss you off though sometimes. And he's a blood sport kind of online debater. That's his mentality. He did it with Dave Smith, very perfectly. He had Dave wrapped in a pretzel in the first 30 minutes because he was so pissed off at him. He couldn't think straight, right?
Yeah.
So that was his thing. But that question, and really it's not about Andrew Wilson because take him or leave him. I don't really care about that. What I'm saying is that question right now is something that would be very helpful for both sides. It helps bridge that gap because guys, like you said, are kind of checking out. Yeah. Guys understand what the duties and responsibilities are from Scripture, from the church. That's been hammered home. It doesn't mean that guys don't have stuff to work on. Of course we have stuff to work on. We just admit, like, hey, we have some stuff to work on. And we keep each other accountable too.
Yeah.
What guys need to hear and what women that are asking these kinds of questions need to hear is a good answer on the other side too.
Right.
I think that would, not because it just puts duty on the other side, because it helps clarify what's going on, and where the disconnect is. That's why I think that's
a prescription on one side and not on the other.
Yes,
and you said the Proverbs 31 woman is a superstar. I mean, you read that is a
stud.
Oh my goodness! I mean, that is a woman.
Okay, but if you're talking about guys today looking for something in a woman, first of all, they're not getting their information from a Bible like you guys did. You understand? The churches are empty.
The churches are empty, but here's the thing. A lot of you're seeing.
Well, it is true.
Well, no, here's the one thing too. You're seeing a huge research in young men, but they're rejecting a lot of modern churches. They're going, I don't want to be a part of that feminist church at this point. But even men who aren't Christians, young men are going, wait a second. They're tired because it's so ubiquitous now. Young men are going, all right, I don't want an OnlyFans model. I don't want someone who's posting a bunch of thirst trap pictures on social media. I want there's a difference between someone you date, someone you have, and a wife. Now the difference is women want that.
The difference is about 60 pounds.
Well, That's a thing.
You're not going to find a woman who's going to cook and bake for you and clean your house that looks like a OnlyFans model. One in 1,000. Believe me, I was out there 41 years.
It's rare, but you know what? Here's the thing that women need to understand: you're not an OnlyFans model forever. So put in.
That's a great equalizer. No doubt about it.
Put it in now, because guess what? When you're going, I don't need to do any of that. I'm hot. I have a bunch of simps online hitting my tip jar on OnlyFans. Great. What happens when you're 50? Oh, and that was your window to find that, because the kind of man you want is going to expect those qualities just like you expect them of him. Or look, throw everything out that I'm saying. Die alone. It's really that simple. Either there needs to be a change, a return to how relationships existed since the beginning of time, or not. Die alone. That's it. 40%, I think it's 40% of women are single. In the year 2030 something, it'll be 60%, and women aren't happy about it. And then
but it's easily fixed. That's the great news.
Yeah, there's hope there.
It's really an easy solution as long as you look at the problem. And that's what I think
it has to be fixed by women, though.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think Andrew's question highlighted what might be at the root of the problem.
Yeah.
Is that women, and I'm not saying women bad, what I'm saying is women have been lied to for a very long time.
Yeah.
And they've bought into these lies about what will make you happy and what is valuable and what is something to pursue. And you can do everything like a man. Like, I don't want a girl who's gone out there and like when I was looking around, I didn't want somebody who was out there flaunting what they have with everybody, because I'm like, well, look, if you're going to let everybody see it, I'm not special.
Right.
No, but women in this country for years were told the lie that they were going to find the guy who was going to be their prince and their savior. That's what marriage was about.
Right.
They feel like that's a lie, and I totally
Well,
I don't
some
totally
do, but
disagree with some of
women
that.
want it. Women still want it, and they're like, "Well, I can't find it now." And it's like, "Well, okay, take a guess. Take a guess." I mean, when you look at the thing is the reality. You look at the numbers. It's about 70% of divorces are filed by women. If you both have college degrees, it's 80%. Infidelity and physical abuse are not even among the top 5 reasons. Not even close. It's like number 1, I think, was breakdown in communication. These numbers have been.
Are you sure about that?
Yes.
Yeah.
100% certain. Okay. You think every man is
80%.
thrilled with a relationship? That means that as shitty as we make men out to be, they stay in unhappy They stay to try and make it work, and women don't. I tried to watch this. It's called Dying for Sex with Michelle Williams. She gets cancer. She finds out she has terminal cancer, and she leaves the guy who was there to support her to screw her way across New York. And by the way, here's the thing. It's so warped. The reason she's not attracted to him is because he doesn't want to sleep with her, because he is absolutely a cuck male who's like, well, I don't want a relationship to be based on sex. So he is everything that a feminist claim they want in a man. He's making her juice, right? Like he's her personal chef in the kitchen, being supportive of her. And then she's like, ugh, I'm just not attracted to him. I'm going to leave him. And you can read the reviews from not even the critics, but even some of the users. And you'll see some people saying like, this is just, this is smut. And I just can't believe if the roles were reversed. And the reviews that are pro Dying for Sex go, oh, what? So women can't be sexual beings? No one's saying that.
Oh,
no one's saying that. You're leaving the guy who married you, who treated you well, to screw your way across the Lower East Side. That's not about being a sexual being. How do we now move the goalpost from accountability to, so what, you're trying to, because feminists are still trying to do it. You're still trying to oppress me sexually? No, great. Sex work is real work. OnlyFans. Great. Enjoy your 50s.
I'm going to go home and tell my wife I got stage 3 nut cancer.
No, she got cancer.
No, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Well, Nick you do nearly all the baking in your house, don't you?
I don't
built
bake.
your
Don't
house
make me out to be a bitch. I make a brajol.
Well, technically,
You built your house around that oven,
Pizza
didn't you?
is baking. Technically, it's baking.
Wait, I have a $15,000 pizza.
I
Don't
know
make me
you
out to be
do.
Julia fucking Childhood.
Can't wait to try it.
Although I learned how to stuff a turkey by going to the fisting site on Newport.
That would be great. Julia Child make the politics. Hello, I'm going to make a brajol, but first let's talk about the Jews.
I do that on my. I do right.
Yeah,
a second bitchin' kitchen where I'm cooking on my. Do you see that? We do one episode every once in a while.
No, you're great.
And people love that though. I'm talking shit. I'm talking racial shit while I'm making a turkey.
I didn't even know what
Colin Quinn told me to do that 15 years ago.
Oh, really?
He goes, dude, why aren't you?
Yeah.
And here I am in my late 80s. And
no, but it's definitely an issue. Okay, die alone, or there's got to be a correction.
And women have to understand the stuff you might not like about guys. They're not emotionally available, or they're kind of rough around the edges. That's the same part of them that's going to make them go down the stairs at 3 a.m. when there's a bump in the night.
Yeah,
you understand? So you got to take some of that with you too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
I think what's happened is, unfortunately, in too with feminism in justifying the unjustifiable. Like men, all right. I will tell you this. One of the greatest myths out there is like, men don't apologize. Bullshit. That is the opposite of reality. Women have a much harder time. You know why? Yesterday, me, Gerald, Johnny Boy, Josh, I can count at least 6 apologies between us. At least 6. Like, oh, shoot, I meant to write it that way. Oh, shoot, that's right. That was the wrong setup. Damn it, that clip had the wrong time code. You know why? Because if you're in a sports team, you go, oh, I didn't miss the pass. Smack. Your team hates you. There's no incentive to not take ownership and accountability when you make a mistake.
You just described every black receiver in the NFL.
pretty much. But the truth is, think about it. You can't go through life as a man.
No, you're right.
Never apologizing, never recognizing you're wrong. Many women,
accountability.
Many women don't play high-level team sports. Many women don't go into a high-pressure work environment where there's numbers. Not all, but many men. It is guaranteed. From the moment they are able to speak and they are surrounded by other men, they will have to. They will establish the hierarchy and pecking order. Feminism said there should be no hierarchy. Well, it's not a thing. So men apologize, and women often exist in the theoretical, where it's about a feeling. So that, to me, is like the quintessential gaslighting. Men don't apologize. Everyone here knows the opposite is the truth. Rhea, I don't know if there's a number on it statistically, but I'm telling you because, men do all the time, right? Our joke is just say, I'm sorry, happy wife, happy life. What's the female equivalent? Just say you're sorry and,
just let him bang my sister and everything will be fine.
Yeah, exactly. Mel Gibson was the closest we had. He was more right. He was more right than us. You will blow me because I deserve it. As crazy as that is actually closer to the truth. I'm not saying
you look ridiculous.
Father Gibson.
It's closer to the truth.
You look ridiculous.
Anything goes, and there's no hierarchy.
You speak his name and he appears.
All right,
we'll
take it to Russell Brand. Did you guys find the clip where he asked her? Did they send the time code where he asks her about the duty?
They say they're working on it, so hopefully we'll have it soon.
Okay, yeah. On Piers Morgan was on the full show, and I think it was either right before that clip or right after that clip. But it got really uncomfortable because he made a very clear argument and asked a very direct question, and she just went into these podcast hosts and stuff. And again, I don't dislike her, but he's right in his characterization of it.
Absolutely, nailed it.
Let's grab another chat.
All right, next chat. Here, we'll do a quick one for you. Question for Pops and Nick. What's your thought on Ovechkin passing Gretzky in goals, and your thoughts for the constant hate on Ovi because Russia bad after being held as a god for years?
Well, who's hating on Ovechkin?
There's a lot of hate on, especially online for Ovi.
Okay, online with idiot nerds who haven't seen 3 hockey games.
Your hockey
what?
Oh, by the way,
yes, I'm Jer94.
Sorry, I started watching this. I started watching this week because my lady is gone, so she's allergic to shrimp, and I'm like, I'll watch things I won't watch with her, and so I ordered a giant bowl of shrimp and watched the Don Cherry story. And you know who plays Don Cherry?
Well,
a guy from Shoresy. And Letterkenny, and he has a great young Don Cherry.
Oh my goodness!
Follows him in the minors, follows him becoming a coach.
Nick interviewed him.
Yeah.
Yes, on my radio show in New York. He actually stole. I've had, my bits, Stephen.
Yeah.
On HBO Young Comedian
Special.
You do,
actually. You remember?
Oh, there you go. There you go. See, he plays a young Don Cherry. Yeah, he's great.
Okay.
He does a great homage to him. Yeah, sorry, Nick.
I had a joke about hooking a monkey when AIDS was big, and I said if hooking a monkey's brain up to a car battery. Do you remember this one?
I
was going to save somebody from dying of AIDS. I got 2 things to say. The red is positive and the black is negative. Yeah. That's on a quote. That is on a quote page with literally like Churchill. I'm not shitting you.
Teddy Roosevelt.
The
man who enters the arena.
Woody
the
Allen.
Only thing to fear.
Honest to God. No,
Wow.
It's on a couple of them.
That's great.
And John Cherry used it. And so did the Prime Minister of Australia, like 20 years ago.
Oh, really?
He's just switched it. He changed a few words.
Wow.
But I got 2 things to say. He changed it to terrorists.
Okay.
I got 2 things to say. And Don Cherry did it for the same, something military, but used my jokes.
Well, I was thinking of the one
hockey players.
I was thinking of the one where you said, like, you had a joke about AIDS and like all these guys losing weight. You said like, and I've been busting my ass doing insanity workout. I could have blown a male figure skater. And it was something like that. So I was thinking of that one, but I didn't know about. I remember the monkey joke.
Yeah, losing weight with AIDS.
I remember Louis C.K. told a joke, not a joke. He told a story about you where he was trying to write a bit because when you were roommates, And I don't remember I heard this. It was on a podcast. And he said, Nick is just, he said, Nick is just one of those guys. It's just all the time. It's just kind of, it's just the way he is. And he talked about how he came to you and he's trying to write a joke about how he was at a luncheon or something in China and they brought the monkey to the table and how to get out of it. And he said that you just said, like, mine tastes retarded. And that was,
yes.
And he said he couldn't pull it off.
Yes, it was one of those Faces of Death movies or whatever.
Yeah.
Or something like that. And in China, they were sitting around with a monkey.
Yeah, like in a vice.
They take his head off.
Yeah.
The top of his head, and they were eating his brains.
Just like in Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know that. I'm not gay. Listen. You and your shit movies.
Like in Silence of the Lambs 3 or something.
You're a fag.
How many parodies of Indiana Jones have you done? Huh?
None. None.
That is not true. That is a lie.
I've never done a parody of Indiana Jones. Yeah? Okay, I'll write one up where you look at the Ark of the Covenant.
So back to your Faces of
Yeah. But Louis remembers that shit. I don't. But yes, that was mine tastes retarded.
Yeah, it's very
funny. Go to the waiter. It tastes a little
Oh, I hate monkeys.
Kenny Rogerson had the best one about that blowfish that Japanese people serve. If you fillet it wrong, you can get paralyzed from it. The chef comes over. So how was everything here? Well, the salad was good.
It's one of those things like this is the whole Asian thing. Like, why take the risk?
I know. I don't know.
Just order halibut.
Yeah. You take a risk every time I eat my wife's meatloaf. But
people save for a lifetime for that. Anyway, back
the salad.
Back to Alex Ovechkin. I don't think there's a lot of hate for him. I will say this, as a hockey purist.
Me too.
He's no Wayne Gretzky. He beats him in. Anyone could specialize in something.
Sure.
And be very, very good at it, and he's the best. But 1,000 more assists, 1,000 more points than Ovechkin. That's a whole different. Yeah, guys, come on. I mean, in terms of being a complete
pure goal scorer.
And I love that style of Cam Neely, Ovechkin.
Well, I love
guys
Ovechkin.
That are just rough and tumble.
Well, he'll knock you.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. And you could see he broke the record in Long Island, and that place went nuts for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And those weren't the Capital fans, you know. So maybe online, like you said, maybe there's some whatever.
Do you know his first shift in the NHL? He came in when Crosby came in.
Yeah.
Everyone was focused on Sidney Crosby.
The kid.
They didn't really know who Ovechkin was. His first shift, he put a guy through the glass and broke the glass and scored 2 goals.
Nice. Ovechkin did?
That's a beast. And the whole league went, what? Who is this guy?
Yeah.
And then all the attention just went to him, and he just destroyed the next.
I know a guy put his wife through a window.
Enough about the
people
NFL.
don't break the glass. That's tough.
Fun throwaway fact: the Capitals captain Chris Clark at the time was my mailman's son.
Really?
Yep.
Oh,
your mailman.
How do you know your mailman?
He used to give us hockey sticks and stuff.
Postman
Sure, Christmas.
Oh,
okay.
Oh,
That's awesome.
They do it in the back of the van.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you're a hockey guy, Noodles. What are your thoughts on Ovechkin?
I feel like obviously Gretzky holding the record for as long as he did is, it's a huge thing in and of itself. So that said, I think records are meant to be broken, and I'm happy for Ovechkin for doing it.
Yeah.
Well, what's the thing?
But he's not on the level of Gretzky
No,
overall
no,
as a
no,
player.
No, and we're all talking about Gretzky. Gretzky wasn't the greatest. Bobby Orr was the greatest.
Yeah.
And this is the reason why. I don't know if you told me or I read this. Hockey expert said, you take Bobby Orr, you take the 5 best defensemen in the history of the NHL, and the 5 best forwards. Did you tell me this? Bobby Orr could play on either team.
Yeah.
Gretzky couldn't.
Right.
Gretzky couldn't play defense.
No.
He was definitely the most,
That's why, and Bobby Orr transcended the game, but so did Gretzky scoring wise.
Yeah.
So, but I'm just saying, I still put Orr up there.
Yeah. I mean, there's a case to be made, not as far, but you can make a case that like overall, as far as impact and as value to the team, someone like Gordie Howe may even still be above Ovechkin because the Gordie Howe hat trick. I mean, you're talking about something. That, I mean, he's a guy who would score, assist, and beat the shit out of somebody.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That was Cam Neely and those.
Yeah.
kind of guys.
Neely could do that too, but Gordie did it. Gordie played 50? Remember, he was in his late 50s.
He played with his son.
He was in it. Yes, his late 50s playing for the Hartford White.
But guys, if you watch the old tape of him, he wouldn't even get a tryout today.
No,
he was inert. He could barely move. These guys didn't bend at the waist.
No, I know. They skated like.
They would just. I mean, like, look at these kids today. They're super athletes.
Yeah, no, it's true. And
I never played hockey.
Yeah.
Let's talk about football.
Not compared to that.
No, it is. Well, but like anything else, it becomes hyper specialized.
Yeah.
So it makes more sense where you're going to be, okay, you're the goal scorer, right? You're going to, I mean, same thing we talked about like in grappling. Jiu-jitsu became hyper specialized where it's no longer super relevant to combat.
You got to skate, though. A skate trends, and you got to be a great skater.
And Gretzky was not a great skater.
And
Noodles Konechko, kind of slow. Not real strong on his skates, but he could stop on a dime.
And he knew
everybody
was very agile.
Yeah,
his
very
dad
agile.
said to him, "Don't go where the puck is. Go where it's going to be."
Yes,
and that is the key, man.
And you can't really teach it.
No, you
That's the
can't.
thing.
You're right. It's very
Hockey
instinctive.
sense.
Yeah.
Pasternak has it.
There are some people who, like we talked about Gordon Ryan and it gets Paulo Figueiredo mad in jiu-jitsu. Like this guy is so far above other world champions that he beats them with moves that you learn at white belt, and he tells them that he's going to beat them that way. He puts his prediction in a little box and pulls it out. And he's brash, and he's got tattoos, and he brags about steroids, but everyone else is on steroids. But it's not even close. And when you watch him, you just go, I don't know what it is. Like, he's doing everything right, but he's not doing anything that different. He's just doing it right. And it's like these people have never competed. They can't do anything.
It's like the Dems watching Trump with tariffs.
Yeah, exactly.
I spoke with him once, and he told me, you have to start in the position that terrifies you, that you're always trying to avoid and trying to defend against. Start in that position and get so comfortable that you won't care if someone puts you in that position.
That makes sense.
And you'll always be advancing, and you won't be on the scared defensive. And
that makes sense.
It's just so far and above everybody else.
All right.
Paul Figueiredo?
I know. Paulo Figueiredo is a Brazilian guy who gets mad when I tell him the best jiu-jitsu practitioner's American. He's like, that's not. I'm like,
probably the top 5 are Americans.
Yeah, he's wrong. Americans took it and made it better. Do we have that?
They have the clip, yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's roll the clip and then final chat, and we'll send you. Oh, that's right. We're not on a hard time. It's Friday. We're doing a chat Friday.
No.
Thursday. Today. Son of a bitch.
I thought it was Wednesday.
It's still today.
It's that international Dateline stuff.
I mean, all right. Let's watch this. Going back to Andrew Wilson, because you know what, he did do a very good job here, and
I thought it was Owen and Luke's older brother, Andrew Wilson.
That's true. That is
it?
That is his name too. Yeah. This is my baseball time in Rushmore. All right, let's watch it.
Okay, well, let me ask you this.
I'm not
How
angry
come it is
about
in the
it.
United States that men can be drafted? Women can't be drafted, but women can vote to send men to war. 18 years old, they're stabbing each other in the face with bayonets. Women can vote to send men to war that they then themselves do not have to fight. It's a duty that men have, they do not have. What's the counter duty for women?
Lauren,
There's
smiling,
no
she knows.
obligation for women to have children. We're well under replacement rate. It's slated 45% of women will be single in the next 10 years, up to 60% in the next 30. That's the estimates right now. Our replacement rate, we can't even replace our own country's birth rates. That's how low they are.
Maybe
this is what we're seeing as a systemic issue inside of society because nobody will put duties on women.
Go on,
Instead,
James.
you just maybe it's men like you that are making that
Maybe that's why
happen.
the
Maybe you're the
replacement
problem.
Yeah.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
He's not hearing. He's not hearing.
It always goes back to. Your fault. Your fault.
Exactly.
So
What are you, a
men's issues
3-year-old?
are men's fault, and
You're
women's
not
issues
nice.
are men's fault.
You're the problem. You're not nice.
And then if men just check out, go, we're not doing it. It's like, so what? You're just treating us. You're not going to marry. No, we're not. Men check out. So it's everything is a man's fault, and that's why I say men can't fix anything. With it. It's just not an issue that men can fix, and they've decided statistically to check out.
Do men really want kids? Can I ask you that? Bill Hicks said no, and I agree with him. But go ahead.
Some men don't.
Yeah.
Some men don't.
Well, I think all of them.
I think men want grandkids. Take it from me.
Yeah.
Can we skip? You know what I mean?
I think a lot of men are afraid to have kids in the modern world because of the fact that these duties. Men are afraid that they're going to have children, work their whole life, and still have to be Mr. Mom. Right? Come home and I've been with the kids all day. You take them.
I just
That's
think
what men are afraid of.
instinctually it doesn't match up. But
I think
nurturing and caring and
no, I mean I don't think men necessarily think of having kids as nurturing and caring. They have different roles, and there obviously is nurturing and caring, but not the primary role. Right. And training.
We right away think legacy. You know that, Gerald.
Exactly. Like you're thinking.
Really, when you were in your early 20s, you were thinking about legacy.
No, probably not then. It was more lust.
Yeah, no, for sure.
That's what I mean. Then it turns into you get tired.
Yeah, I think for the most part, people want to have children. They don't always, and that's I understand that.
I'm talking about men strictly, and I think they don't. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I mean,
go ahead.
I think the idea, though, again, like he's talking about, these are very clearly outlined duties of men. what is on the flip side? And she just would go, my husband was a professional athlete and he's a football. Is he not a real man? He goes, you're not answering the question.
That's right.
Because you just said what a man is required to do for you to find him attractive. What are you required to do?
Yeah.
And it's a real look. If this issue doesn't get solved, you can kiss all of it goodbye.
Yeah.
You can kiss all of it goodbye.
My problem with some of the people that are making this argument, and
on which side?
On the Andrew Wilson side of this argument, and I'll talk about Andrew Wilson another time because I have more nuanced thoughts about him than I would some of these other people. They make the point in such a way that it is completely unpalatable, and they're doing it for clicks, and they're doing it for, this personality build of theirs to where they get more followers, and they're like, you got to sleep with so many women, you got to do this. This is where the life is. And I'm like,
I completely disagree.
Shut up.
I completely disagree.
You can't disagree. That is 100% true. These
No,
guys make it so unpalatable.
I completely disagree. I think it's necessary because all men have done is tried to make it palatable, and it doesn't work. It just gets warped. It just gets twisted. You know what? And the truth is, he would get far, far more followers if he went out as a male feminist and virtue signaled on that front and said everything is great like that.
Andrew Tate he's going to get more followers by toning it down. Andrew Tate is doing more damage to men right now.
Yeah, but Andrew Wilson is not Andrew Tate.
Right.
Andrew Wilson is not Andrew Tate.
I said I exempted Andrew Wilson.
Okay,
I have more nuanced thoughts about what he does.
Well, Andrew, I don't even think they're in the same. They're not even on the same side.
They just happen to be making similar arguments. Andrew Wilson is much more thoughtful, much more reasonable in some of the things that he says. But I hate that movement. I don't even know what to call it. Is it? I
don't even think that Andrew Tate and Andrew Wilson are in the same movement.
Who's the guy? He was a right winger talk show host when Rush was popular, but was known for his anti-women take. Do you remember? Hugely popular.
It wasn't Savage.
Not Savage, no. But he was out of L.A. and he was really good at this.
I don't remember.
I have to look it up. He was huge too. But it was a time like around the time Rush was
Neil Boards.
Nope,
he was Georgia.
Nope.
I don't know.
I'll look that up.
But it's not. It's anti-feminism. The problem is you'll have a lot of women. What he's saying is you'll have a lot of women go, "I'm not a feminist," and then they don't realize that they often are.
Yeah,
and that's
the point he made with Tommy. He's like,
yes,
this is undercover feminism. I think is what he called it. Or
overt.
I just want to be clear, really differentiating because, Andrew Tate. Look, that's an entirely different conversation. Andrew Wilson is not advocating that men go out and bang as many women as possible.
He's not.
He's not advocating that men
from that. I wasn't putting him in that category.
I think Andrew Dice Clay has it right.
But Fresh and Fit, those guys when they go out and say some of the stuff that they said, I was just like, my mind is blown by this because I'm like, that actually makes the problem worse.
Yeah,
I understand you're identifying the problem. Fine, okay. Your solution makes it worse. Sleep with 50 women before you get married. Okay, what does that make all of them?
I was disagreeing. I was thinking about Andrew Wilson where I go, there is some value in being bombastic where a woman comes and you can see it dawn on them where he just goes, okay, how about this? Let me ask you this. They go, you can see they've never thought of it.
Yeah, that's right.
They've never been asked the question. And I think that's required. And I think you do a lot better for clicks and be reviled less if he softened it and he doesn't, and he's been consistent.
No, I agree with that.
Perfect.
Gerald makes a good point though. There's those other ways of couching it to just hurt the cause. They'd be better off to describe the male mind and our temptations and what we deal with and what we tamp down more than just, hey, let's go out and just sleep with as many as we can, right? That would be something that women might wake up to and go, oh, I
But that is what Andrew Wilson does, and women are still furious.
No, that's good. Yeah. That's good. But the other guys just,
he just pokes a little
I'm
bit.
glad I slept.
He needs to poke. You know why? In respect, because I read Wild at Heart, and I was in the small groups in the church, and I saw all this shit that they told men. But when the rubber hit the road, they didn't really hold any. The man was left holding the bag. I watched a pastor give a sermon. If you build your woman a house, maybe she'll make it a home. This was a sermon.
Goodness.
He said, if you bring your wife groceries, maybe she'll make a meal. How about no maybe? Again, this is exactly, you just laid it out. And they always do this thing where it's like, well, and you see this with feminism, right? They go, this is what you need to do as a man. This is what you need to do as a woman. Okay? We just talk, women don't often ask those questions. But the answer that you see, and it's worse in churches, and I will say this, is, well, the truth is the Bible doesn't mean that. If he is truly a good man or husband, you'll want to do those things. Bullshit. Bullshit, and men know it's not true because even if you are the perfect wife, guess what? The man doesn't want to take out the trash. The man doesn't want, but he'll do it. We know it's not true, but women are fed this, and if he checks the box A, B, C, D through P, you'll want to. So it's not true. Since when did want have anything to do with it? And so I think there needs to be no. What about doing things?
No, I didn't even know who this guy was until today, and I think he may be the ambassador for it. He's better than the other guys out there you just mentioned.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, and I think
he's
much more nuanced.
He's abrasive.
It's the same.
Well, that's
problem.
okay.
Going back to this argument, like it is the same problem that I have with so much teaching in the church. One is it's men, it's humanly fallible people. The entire church is not infested with this. Mostly we're talking about the Protestant church, and even the entire Protestant church isn't infected with this because there are denominations that go completely against this, like Baptist denominations. Typically, you're typically talking about more independent kind of Bible-based churches. The problem that I have is that almost every church misses Acts 17:11. Take it, receive it with an open heart, and go and search Scripture to see if it's true. It solves all of the problems. There is no issue with understanding roles if you go back to Scripture.
Sure.
That's my problem with church in general. It's much bigger than just this one thing. But I know that we've screwed it up in some parts.
Do you think Alex Ovechkin's wife made him a sandwich after he came home from that?
Unless she wants to put through the glass.
895 goals.
Now get your shine box.
Yeah.
No, you put cutting board on wall so I can put you through it.
It's so funny. You know what? It's so funny you brought that up because when he was thanking everybody, he goes and he said goodbye. He started to skate and he saw his wife and banged the Yui. Did you see it?
No.
He forgot to thank his wife.
Like, shit.
Watch it. Watch his little speech there. He thanks everybody, the fans, the assistant coaches, the trainers, everybody. And then he finally says, like, thank you very much. And he starts to skate and he looks up at his wife and his mother, by the way.
Oh, no.
And he bangs a Yui.
Yeah.
And then throws in his family, which is something I would have done.
All right, final chat. We got to go. And we're going to send you over to Russell Brand.
All right.
By accident.
Final chat from Syndrome of a Down. How concerned should we be that isolating China might make them take drastic measures such as invading Taiwan or tanking our bond market?
We don't have 3 hours.
What?
Yeah.
They're trying to take the bond market right now by devaluing their currency and selling off some of our, or not. They're selling off some of our bonds. They've been threatening to take Taiwan forever. They're like, be ready by 2027 about this time.
Yep.
I don't think that changes anything.
Here's what it is. What's your level of commitment? Okay.
Yeah.
That's what it is. If you just apply commitment, all right, then we have to deal with that problem. You know what you have to do. Oh, wait, they're gonna take Taiwan. Are we still dependent on them? Okay. All right. I guess it's a fight. Wait, they're gonna try and take our bond market? Okay. What other pressure tools do we have that we can apply here? They want to act up. All right. You want to get nuts? The United States needs to be committed to it and get a little bit nuts. Not if we're half in, half out, and we don't want to piss them off so much. That is, I would say this, that would be a fundamentally different approach that we haven't seen, certainly in my lifetime, in approaching China. Certainly not since the 1990s, and not having the commitment and the force to apply it has really been our problem. So there are a lot of what ifs. There are a lot of what ifs.
If you get this coalition of really good, fair trade partners, they're in trouble. The whole planet then is on our.
But you also have to accept that China may not be the kind of place that accepts it's in trouble and may want to burn it all down.
Yeah.
And then, because of the commitment, it's a containment strategy. No, you're not going to burn it all down. We're going to ensure that you only burn you down. Mm-hmm. And that's why the nation state is important. That's why what Bernie says, the we are the world holding hands, cannot possibly work. It has never worked. Right. It can't work. We need to build up the nation state and go back to being proud of a nation. Hey, the reason we have nations is because we're outlining we are different. These are our values. We don't share the values of these other countries. We don't believe in communism. We don't believe in the abolishment of personal property. Communists try and get you on that technicality. We don't believe those things. So this is our nation. People didn't realize this whole holding hands, we are the world lie that was fed to you was evil then, and it's evil now. Because if you link arms with a nation that is evil, and you don't instead build up a wall, build up a border, make it really clear that you're not with that, guess what that makes you an accomplice to evil. The United States has to be committed to in no way, shape, or form anymore being an accomplice to the evil that has been perpetrated upon its own people and the globe from the Chinese government. Got to be committed. We'll see you tomorrow.
Maha is both